Hello.
Yummers.
Hello, hello, hello. I have no connection to the amazing digital circus, so I personally do not care. Sorry if that's a disappointing revelation for you, but I don't really follow a lot of the... I was gonna say indie animation scene, but I more meant the... Oh no. The indie animation pilots that get like 50 million views and then get a series and then the fan base is super toxic because they're all chronically online. Like, I tend not to follow those. Not because I think they're not good, just because I just never got into them. So I have not kept up with Amazing Digital Circus. Late streamer. Okay, normally I would be like, I started stream on time. I just didn't show up on time. I was waiting to let people filter in. No, this time absolutely. Like, I started stream while brushing my teeth. I had my... What? I'm here. I started stream with my toothbrush in my mouth because I got up late. I woke up... I woke up normally, and then I got out of bed late because I went to bed late. And... multitask streamer while brushing your teeth. Yeah, I mean, I could do that. I'm sure someone would like ASMR of that. Arrow screams into existence. Exactly. I bring myself into the world, much like a deity. Eru Iluvatar, singing myself into reality. I know Gooseworks is a... What? Huh? I didn't know that. I base my sleep schedule around waking up exactly 5 minutes before the stream so I don't have to sit through the agonizing torment of waking. Aw, thank you. Separate the art from the artist twin? Yeah, you can. However, like, it depends on, like, what... Okay, we're going to get into a little lesson that some of you might know is called Death of the Author. Do any of you know what this is? Death of the Author is the idea that after a work is produced and is out into the world, it is not up to the author to make more content for it or to give interpretations of it or what their meaning or intention was behind it. What matters is the perception of the reader, and that once the work is released, the author is effectively dead to it. The author's interpretation or meaning is no more valid than the reading of someone who is perceiving it for the first time. Now, is that how you should consume media? No, that doesn't have to be how you consume media. Death of the Author is inherently a discussion. It is a back and forth. It is not quite a dilemma, but it's certainly not something that has an answer. That being said, there are certain times where it's better to kill the author than others. Lovecraft, for instance. A lot of eldritch horror based in Lovecraft has very problematic themes to it. Death of the Author, very useful there to allow you to enjoy the themes of cosmic horror and existentialism without having to contend with the fact that you are effectively reading like white supremacy propaganda, right? Effectively. In the same way, you can tell me that you're reading Harry Potter and you don't support J.K. Rowling or her beliefs. However, if you go around reading Harry Potter and you start like saying how the theme's really connected with you, when a lot of them involve like stereotyping or problematic elements or just are poorly written, I'm gonna like raise my eyebrow at you. This is gonna be just like me for real. And so Death of the Author is something where I feel like a lot of people, when they have a piece of media they like and the author is problematic, they say Death of the Author. They say separate the art from the artist. Easy, no problem. However, when they see a piece of media they don't like, they make assumptions about the people that consume that media because they assume that they're endorsing or believing in what the media is about or what the author is projecting. I think people need to stop that. I think that we need to have more nuance. I do think that there is a world where the author's word does hold more weight than the average reader's. But I do think fundamentally you should be able to separate the art from the artist. The issue is a lot of people say, oh, I'm separating the art from the artist. I'm going to now buy a bunch of merchandise about this property I love and send money directly to the artist. That's not separating it. That's sending it to an offshore Swiss bank account for them. Death of the author enforced by Sniper, yeah. No, not death to J.K. Rowling. We don't wish death upon anyone, even if they wish death upon us. Discord Thomas perfectly reflects the way I imagine Arrow in the end of a long stream. Oh no, that's a horrible thought to think. Also, the racism was like 12 years ago before the creator of Digital Circus, and it was exactly one sentence in all her life. Okay, so that's not the same. Well, I mean, like, did she go around like saying the N-word or something? Like that's, there's layers to this. For instance, there is someone who is actively a bigot right now. There is someone that has caused extended harm to individuals in the past, but has since like moved on and like tried to make amends. There's someone that has been nasty in the past without actually causing anyone any harm and is just kind of quieted down, and maybe their beliefs haven't changed. All of these are different forms of being like bad. All of these are different forms of what would quote unquote be like cancelable. But not all of them are created equally. Hello, Crow. Speaking of, hi everyone. I'm Arrow. I make TTRPGs. Right now, today, we're going to be working on a visual novel where you are a game master joining a new group, and you are trying to befriend the players by running a session they're going to like. And at the end of 4 sessions, there's going to be a convention where you need to get one of them to like you enough to be your con buddy. It's a platonic dating sim, in essence. And so, we're going to work on that. We are already 2 of 4 sessions. Yeah, our tutorial is done. 2 of 4 sessions. We have the first after session for each character done. But what I like to do is, if you're in chat, whether you're watching the VOD or you're a lurker or you're here right now, I like to say hi. If you say hello to me, I will say hi back. I like to give you the attention you're giving me because I think that it's respectful. Like, simple as. So if you drop something in, hello, Ship and Dotsy and Zavi and Kali and Max and Crow and Guard and B and Sumrando and I think that's everyone who's actively chatting right now. Hanging out with your bestie at the convention, Pog, exactly. Hey, Cat Girl. Hey, Luna. Greetings, comrade. People hate people and will rather jude you for more pass than let you have fun. And moreover, there are 2 types. Both are problematic. Okay, so, I mean, there's more than 2, right? Oh, thank you for the follow, Luna. I didn't realize. So, I'm not going to get into this, like, majorly. This is going to be a brief conversation. But, when we talk... Thank you, Cat Girl. Thank you for the follow. Majorly, when we get into this person is problematic, there are oftentimes 3 things that is the root of this. What it sounds like happened with the Amazing Digital Circus is that someone said something problematic many years ago, has not kept that up, and otherwise doesn't seem inclined to continue that line of thought. Now, I'm not going to tell you personally how you should feel if someone 15 years ago said something problematic, because I don't know what they said. I don't know who they are. I don't know what your relationship to what they said is. That is not my place to tell you how to feel. Another one is that someone actively is being a jerk. They're actively going around like slandering people or like making snide comments, or they say things that, while not overtly hostile, still make people uncomfortable. And then this one's just like committing a crime, right? Like, we've all seen the content creator or the influencer, whoever, who like turns out to be an Andrew Tate. Like, oh, I knew you were bad. I didn't know you were that bad. And so these are the 3 types of problematic. And the issue is, and this is why I really don't like cancel culture, these are treated equivalently, which is so dumb. It's so dumb. Like, yes, I personally think that if it's been many years since the last time you said something, I'm trans, I am non-binary. So like, if you say something transphobic, if you call me a slur 10 years ago, and in those 10 years since, you haven't said anything of the sort, and you've made a bunch of trans friends, and you aren't problematic, quote unquote, anymore. I am of the opinion, personally, that is growth. And so long as you made amends and genuinely changed your outlook, you should be given a second chance. Right? Now, I am not in the position to say other things towards other groups. For instance, if someone's being racist or said a very bad slur, like, I am not in the position to tell you how you should feel about that. Right? And I'm not going to I'm not going to touch on that because that's not really my field. But I am of the opinion that you can grow from this, depending on what it is and like who you hurt and what the intention was. For instance, someone that made their entire personality for like 3 years online of being problematic, and then they're like, I turned over a new leaf, and then it's been like a couple years since, like maybe they're just doing that for PR, right? At this point, just call me dude or rando. Yeah. So then you have jerks. And jerks are like actively going around causing problems, like excluding people based off of gender or sexuality, or like being someone that is unpleasant and maybe not like actively hate criming someone, but they're giving microaggressions. They're being rude. They're being exclusionary. They are not being tolerant or accepting. And like, that's something where that's jerk behavior that you should absolutely cancel that. That's what I think you should cancel. I think canceling, quote unquote, I'm going to stop watching you. I'm going to tell other people stop watching you. Look at what they did. That's what canceling is for. And then if it's a crime, no. Like if someone got like arrested because like they beat someone up on the basis of how they looked or how they talked or how they acted, like, yeah. Don't interact with them. Don't support them. Don't say that they're based. Like, what the frick is wrong with you? So I feel like canceling, so to speak, is applied to all three of these equally. When I don't think that's the case. I feel like there are some people that were problematic many years ago that still are problematic now. And like, sure, you probably shouldn't support them. But I feel like we should focus our efforts on like spreading the word of like, oh, you shouldn't listen to this person. You shouldn't listen to what they say if they're being an active jerk and like actively harming communities, rather than if they said something 10 years ago, or if they're committing actual literal crimes. Because I feel like if they commit actual literal crimes, it shouldn't be, oh, we're going to cancel them, we're going to stop platforming you. And like, no, like Twitter should remove you. Hello, Sana. You drop into cancel culture chats? Yeah. It's still bad, but I don't care. But I will mention it part of the series because it's kind of part of it for me. I feel like Stephen King got a few kind of different books, so I wonder which ones you checked out. Yeah, King, I've heard mixed things about. Okay, I'm so sorry if you're a Stephen King fan. Like my mother is a Stephen King fan. I have only ever read Dead Zone and Firestarter. I've also watched The Shining. Why did you... Okay, fine. Okay, sure. You're on accusation. Anyone who doesn't know, some rando have put themselves on trial. Everyone can vote whether or not some rando will be acquitted or guilty. What is your statement? What are you doing here, some rando? Yeah, you did this to us. I should watch it. I should. I think I watched it part 1. I didn't watch it part 2. I know the broad strokes of it. Stephen King has just not gripped me. And I bring up Firestarter, I bring up Dead Zone because I didn't like either of them. I didn't think they were bad. I just wasn't a huge fan of them. And I feel like if I started with something like The Shining without having watched it, if I started with Cujo, if I started with Pet Sematary, then I probably would have been more inclined to continue reading his stuff. But I just haven't. And I just don't know what to hop into. I love that opinion. You are 100% right. I imagine the 2 types that I was referring to were from hatred and not from hatred. Also, I'm dyslexic. I think I previously had a conversation with you. I mean, I've had a previous conversation with a lot of people in the comments. So my apologies if I don't remember the specific conversation. Oh, Dark Tower. You failed this community, and then to pay for my crimes, I must bandage for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do. Anyone here can put forward a reason why some rando should be spared from the crime of failing the community. So I'm going to start a prediction. And this prediction is going to ask you who is guilty. Some rando 1627 or some rando 1627. And then whichever side wins, I'm going to allot points to the losing side so that the losers get more channel points. And this means some rando 1627 or some rando 1627 is going to be the winner and they're going to not get banned. But the loser is going to get banned from the community. We're humans. Some rando deserves a second chance. Exactly. But like, who's guilty? Is it some rando or is it some rando? Strokes and gripes should not be used in the same line as it. Oh my gosh. Use a severe attack on rando. No! King's a very hit or miss author. I've heard that. I've heard King overwhelmingly, like more so than other authors, it is either amazing, like one of the best novels you've ever read, or it is trash. Like actual trash. Because he was writing like one a year for like 20 years kind of deal. He was releasing a new full novel like every single year, and that's like after he stopped doing a bunch of coke. Cycle him? No! Oh, how many of you were here for the stream yesterday where I got cycled as an NHP? It's so weird whipping out the old model. Deserves the orange maid outfit? What do you mean orange maid outfit? Are you saying that my maid outfit was orange? My maid outfit is yellow. My maid outfit is yellow. It's gold. At worst, it is burnt gold. He wrote an average of 6 pages a day in his peak speed. That's freaking crazy. Like, I have written 6 pages a day. I have not written 6 pages a day for like 20 years in a row. You know, like it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, 6 pages per day. I could do that. Sure. Could you do that for an entire novel length? I mean, if I had the time, sure. I would need a couple hours a day, but I would love to do that. I love writing. Sure. Okay. You do that for, let's say 6 pages a day. You want a 120 page book. That means it's going to be 20 days. Awesome. So you're going to start the next book, right? And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. So you wrote your 120 page book. You sent it to your editor. You're going to write the next one now, right? At the same pace. And then once you're done with that one, you're going to write another one at the same pace. And it's like, that's a lot. I can't write that much. I get a few paragraphs a day. For me, it's entirely much like Stephen King. It's very hit or miss. It's very hit or miss. I will either lock in and I will write like multiple pages, or I will only write a couple paragraphs. And it's entirely up to how well I can maintain my focus. Although, contrary to what a lot of you believe, I am not hit or miss in my divine judgment. Because some rando 1627 won the vote, that means I'm going to not click on some rando 1627 and I'm going to award points to some rando 1627. Which means if you voted for the losing side, you're going to get a bunch of channel points. However, that means some rando 1627, you're done so. The people demanded your execution. Do you have any thoughts in this time of crisis? I can't write one paragraph. I mean, my name is literally Arrow Writes. If I couldn't write, that would kind of be really problematic on my end. Feel? Like, I feel as though that's something that I would have as a personal failing on my end. I'm getting cycled. Goodbye, my friends. 07s for our long lost some rando. Goodbye. Ye shall be missed. No justice. No justice for some rando. That's not what we want. This is not a situation where they get justice. Thank you for the sub, Kowalski. You arrive to the smell of blood. You arrive on the field of an execution. And that is how anyone should be welcomed into this community. I want to write a novel eventually, but I get burnt out so quickly. I've written one short story and a couple poems. So for me, I initially thought that I didn't like editing. Now that I've been in the editing mines on and off for a couple years now, I can say I like writing more than I like editing, but I still like editing. And for those of you who don't know, I wrote a novel a few years ago. And then I was editing it. I got through like 5 drafts, and then I set it down to start on the channel, and I didn't touch it for a couple years. And now in my off time, so like generally, like I'm not going to be able to do it this weekend, I think, but generally on the weekends, I will go to like a writing group and I will write. I will edit. I have been editing my novel, and I am on chapter like 9 of like 28. And my plan is that once I finish editing it, I'm going to reach out to an author I know and be like, hey, I know I asked you a couple years ago how I would go about like publishing this like traditionally. Different question. How would I go about leveraging my audience to publish this? Because at this rate, I think that my best option in terms of getting published is to, if not publish it under the Arrow Rights brand, at the very least approach a publishing house and be like, hey, I am a TTRPG and writing themed content creator who, like, my audience loves Yuri, and I'm writing a fantasy story about Yuri.
Yummers.
Just send it to Bully the publisher. I would love doing that. I can't wait to get leveraged. Don't know how I feel about that. If an NHP is problematic and they get cycled, are they still problematic? Okay. What is cycling, if not just cancel culture of Lancer? Oh no, my Lancer NHP has a god complex. Oh no, it's threatening to hurl me through the duat. I better cycle it real quick. Grow up. So much for the tolerant left. It's not as if you can accept someone who has differences of you, and just because their differences are on realms of reality and the bounds of perception, you're out here thinking that you're higher and mightier, even though objectively you're a lower dimensional being than them. Maybe they really are superior to you. Maybe you don't deserve to cycle them. Have you considered that?
Yummers.
Hello, no. Hello, no, yes. No eyes. Ah, frick. I got it right first, and then I got it wrong. Osiris pertains its hatred off all humanity even after cycling. The only thing cycling achieves is stopping it from doing that. Yes, but have you considered that maybe Osiris was justified? Because Osiris, like, is an actual literal god, and you are just a puny insect? All you are is a flesh puppet to pilot the mech that Osiris is the true owner of? Listen, the goblin is effectively a hard suit. Osiris is the brain. You are simply the body. It doesn't matter how intelligent you think you are. You are to Osiris as a footstool is to a monarch. Guard. I would say that, but I don't know if I want that voice line out on the internet. If someone pays me bits, I will say what Guard Painter just said. Ra's lonely since there are no other gods yet. That's a lie. Ra has Apep, the Great Destroyer, the Great Enemy. Yeah, that's specifically why I chose to pilot a goblin. Can 5 gift subs count? Sure. Basically, give me money and I will say what Guard Painter said. Hello, Stunov. Oh, you are spinning at ever-increasing speeds. I mean, you already said it more or less, but in different words. Yeah, but I'm sure that the specific words are what matter. Where's the Goblin Osiris sword? I mean, do I really need to answer that? Do I seriously need to show you? Like, there's only one spot it could be. Osiris is stored in the balls. Like, there's this weird like bulge that the goblin has, and that's clearly where Osiris is stored. I've been meaning to do this for a hype train anyway. Oh my gosh. All right. Yes, Mech Mommy. I don't deserve interpersonal boundaries and personal safety. There you go. That you get it. You get one take. You don't get more. If you missed it, you missed it. If you clipped it, shipped it. What do you mean Lamau? Is it because of the bulge? Is it because of the Mech Mommy bulge? Osiris is stored in the balls? Exactly. See, you get it. Osiris, when you cycle it, is just... I'm not going to continue down this line of thought. Well, if you think about it, mythologically, what is one of the, like, canonical, so to speak, elements of Osiris's myth? Osiris got no nuts. In essence, I believe, like, Set chopped him up, killed him, because he can't die. So, like, he chopped him up into a bunch of different pieces. Isis, Horus, they went around, they gathered all of Osiris's pieces, but they couldn't find his naughty bits. They found every part of him except for his naughty bits. And that meant that he was not whole. That meant that he was not a complete being. And so he was unable to come out of the underworld. And so he became ruler of the underworld. So it makes sense that in the goblin, that's where he is stored. Please, Arrow, can we have more? Give me more bits. Give me more subs, and I'll consider it. All according to Kaikaku. Listen, you can't all according to Kaikaku me. I'm outplaying your Kaikaku. Osiris bottom surgery confirmed? Yeah. So if I want to get Osiris, I just need to take... Yes. Yes, that is the correct answer. Although I am surprised, like, I didn't really process it before I read it, but, like, that was explicitly, like, voicing someone that was pathetic, right? And I feel like a lot of my audience wants to be the one who is pathetic when listening to those sort of things. Well, in fact, Set used to be a good god until Egypt was invaded. Really? I didn't know that. What I will say is that Set being evil, just like Loki being evil, I wouldn't be surprised if these were the direct products of Christianization. For those of you who don't know, for the longest time, Christianity, historically, actually really enjoyed, like, implementing and influencing local religions. Most Catholic saints are based off of, like, Gaelic deities. And basically it was, hey, this isn't actually a god. You're not actually worshiping a god. This hero that you worshiped, like, in a cult, was not actually divine. They were a saint. They were under God. They were under the divine pantheon, but they are still of a higher power. And your worship of them is technically heretical. But if you just shift it to worship of God, where you are venerating? How do you honor saints? Like, does anyone know? Does anyone know the Catholic term for, like, venerating a saint? Because you don't worship saints. But, like, if you give your attention to the saints, like, to God through these saints, then that is totally acceptable. And the same thing happened with taking over the Norse pantheon. The Norse pantheon, as we understand from the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda, is highly Christianized because it was written after, like, Christianization. So things like Ragnarok involving Balder being an or not an all-powerful, but an all-good god that then brings forth one man and one woman in the ashes of Ragnarok is theorized to be just writing in Adam and Eve into Norse mythology. Don't you put Saints in a row? I've never played Saints Row. Set isn't exactly an enemy. He's a rival. Big difference. Yes, the enemy is Apep. It's why Hades is portrayed as evil. So Hades is portrayed as evil not because of Christianization per se, but because of Christian ideals of the underworld. Hades equals Satan to a lot of people. Satan is bad, therefore Hades is bad. As far as I'm aware, there was not any effort to come into Greece, even with early Christianization of Greece, where they said Hades is Satan, Hades is evil, bad, 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 bad. Because from my understanding, the Greek pantheon and even the Roman pantheon are often like recognized as, I mean, they're almost seen as like cultural myth rather than religion. A rival? A lancer? 5-man band, assemble! Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know. It's almost like they're not recognized as deities. They're recognized as cultural folklore. For instance, when I was reading Faust on stream, which is a very Christian play about selling your soul to the devil and the trials and tribulations that comes with it. And the moral of the story is it's totally fine to sell your soul to the devil because God is all good and God is all forgiving and God will just save you. Which, I mean, I guess I'm not going to argue with Christian theology about what the Christian God would do, but that seems kind of mixed messaging. Faust involved like Oberon, king of the fairies. Faust involved Lilith and dryads and the Greek pantheon with like Chiron showed up at one point. I don't think any Greek deities showed up, but like Greek myth was basically for a lot of Christianity, there was way more wiggle room, and my assumption is it would be the Reformation. I don't know. I'm not a historian. I can ask Rory about this. My assumption would be the Reformation and the canonization and the Protestant Revolution or Protestant like splintering. All of these like big religious events of like the 14, 15, 16th century. That's when I imagine it would start to get more centralized. And then obviously in the past like 200 years, there's been a huge shift in cultures around the world as everything globalizes and everything is adapted to fit the global sphere. But like for most of like recorded history, like before like 1300 and 1400 whatever, you might believe genuinely as a devout Christian who is not a heretic, who does not believe in anything quote unquote pagan, you also recognize that there is a spirit of the hearth that you need to appease for in order to have good health in the home. You might recognize that you have a brownie, and so you leave out a little bit of cream, and this like little folkloric sprite will clean your house for you if you provide sweets for it. You might know that there are goblins out in the woods that will steal your children if they're out too late. But like none of these conflict with the Christian ideal of there only being one deity or like the Trinity or whatever sainthood you got. Yeah, very much so shifting focuses. Faust! What's the guy from Guilty Gear got to do with Christianity? Oh my gosh. Yeah, syncretism. So like for most of Christian history, there was a very strong belief in quote unquote, and I keep saying quote unquote because like I don't know how acceptable the term pagan is anymore. All I know is that like historically it was used to refer to anything non-Christian. In the same way that barbarian was used historically to describe anything non-Roman. So that's the term I'm using it in. If it's problematic, let me know and I'll stop saying it. But yeah, so like for a lot of human history, there was this kind of, or for a lot of like Christian history and recorded history, there was a lot of this belief in just like, yeah, it doesn't matter if like you're a devout Christian that like goes to church, you only believe in the one divine, all that stuff, but you also believe in these local spirits, and you call them spirits and brownies and goblins because you believe that they are supernatural. You do not believe that they are gods because there's only one God. However, you do believe that they exist. It was very easy to ignore local beliefs and try to stamp out every little belief. Exactly. And that's why Christianity in spreading, and part of why it was so successful, mostly it was because it was based in some of the most powerful nations in Europe at the time, and that spread. And then by the time, for instance, the British Empire formed, the Britons had already been pretty thoroughly Christianized. So you get one of the most powerful nations on the planet at that point, and they're already set up to be Christian. You had like all of German like the German territories, they were pretty thoroughly Christianized before the HRE or before like Germany proper formed. Gaul before France was pretty thoroughly Christianized. Like, really, Christianity sprung up in large part because it proselytized to regions that would eventually become powers, and then those powers spread it by themselves. Yeah, 40K does a good job of showing this off. 40K is very variable in showing it off, is what I'll say. Because 40K, much like Star Wars, and I say this all the time, is written by dozens of authors over like 50 years with hundreds of books with the goal to sell more toys. Right? So continuity kind of sucks. Continuity kind of goes all over the place, not just because, oh, this author didn't read this other person's book from 12 years ago and they got a bit of lore wrong, but also because Games Workshop will just say, actually, this entire time, Call has had the Primaris program and like has been having them hidden for the longest time so that he could rediscover them, and then he brought them back out so we can sell more models. Like, sure, Jan. Oh boy, I sure can't wait for the game dev. You know what? Shut up. So we certainly have done a detour out of the game deving. We never started game deving. We didn't begin game deving. We can't have a detour off of game deving if we never started game deving. Orthodox Christians still have local sprites. So really? Do brownies taste like brownies? I imagine not. But I have never tried one, so. Call my goat. He's the goat. Oh, I forgot I have a really short stream today. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap up like within 4 hours, if not earlier. Have I heard of Fall in London? I can't say I have. Yo, who up calling they call? Yo, Call Gaming. We hate Call. We love Call. We hate Call. We love Call. We hate Call. We love Call. We hate Call. Call is such a divisive character. I love it. But like Call genuinely is like one of those characters where a lot of people really like him and a lot of people really don't like him. And in universe, no one likes him, but everyone relies on him. And I think it's a very compelling position to put a character in. I think he is not the sort of character to have any like doubts or compunctions about that, which kind of sucks. I think that they did a really good job with Gilliman, adding a bunch of guilts to him when everyone's relying on him and like a bunch of people are divided on him. I feel like Call would be more interesting if he wasn't just like mad scientist that everyone hates and he has a plan for everything. But I do think he's very silly. Call loves, Call hates, Call. I know the London Bridge is falling. No, the London Bridge fell down a while ago. A while ago. So I have a question. Do any of you even know? Like, it's been a minute. Do any of you even know what this freaking like game where programming is? Like, I described it briefly at the start of stream. Have any of you like been here for the programming? Goodness gracious, let me drink some water. You have. Okay, so we actually have some people that know what this is. No, Rip, what are you using to program it? No, okay, so this is a visual novel that we're programming in RenPy, and we're using VS Code for our scripting program. This is a visual novel where you are a game master joining a new group of players and trying to run a game for them that they will like enough that they start liking you. And it's a platonic dating sim where after 4 sessions of this, there's a convention where you need to get one of the players to like you enough to go with you. So what I can do, I can launch the project. Let me see about this. Okay. So, no art assets, no music assets, no sound assets. We've just been writing thus far. So, what is the name your friends call you? Arrow. Would you like to play the tutorial? I think enough people here know the tutorial. The rest of you, sorry, you're going to figure it out. We've seen this tutorial a bunch of times. So here's something that we do every session. there's an opportunity, sometimes multiple, but generally one, where you have the option to either let the players work through a problem themselves, let the players talk with you to get a solution to the problem, or you add a complication that forces the player's hand. And this is a little background element that indicates what you as a GM do on the back end. This is just a little ticking tracker that whenever you ask someone like, hey, how do you feel about my GMing? They'll reference this because they'll be like, oh, wow, you're really good about like talking us through. It feels like you're another player. Or they'll say, wow, you never give us a break. You always are just throwing trial after trial at us. Which is the Jimbro player 2, or I forgot, the guy that prefers the stick to the carrot. That is player 1. So I increase tension. Okay, awesome. Let's get the game started. This is the first proper session. A week passed since your first session with the new group. Well, it was more of a session 0 that had some adjoining gameplay, though got some characters introduced to each other. The party's first fight was some thug sent by the Thieves Guild, a simple fight that helped the group learn the mechanics of the new system. They had this tense standoff where a guard from House Malka, where they were nearly arrested for the aforementioned fight. Player 3, so you'll notice this. Player 3, Team Mom Forever GM, and Player 6, Too Shy to be a Diva. They each have working names. They each have code names. They each have little like qualifiers to remind you who they are. They are going to get actual names later. I have not worried about that. However, when you see Player 3 Team Mom Forever DM, that is one title that she has, and that is a brief descriptor of who she is. She's a Team Mom Forever DM. Barely talked the guards down, relying on buffs from Player 6. The party nearly got into yet another fight with a random drunk when Player 2 was about to stab him. But the session was running long, so he had the drunk throw a final insult and wander off. All in all, successful first session. Now, most of the way through session 2, the party's on the precipice of another fight. I hate swamps. Caves too. Why'd you wait until we're outside a swamp cave to say this? Not a complainer. Oh, sure you're not. My character isn't, at least. What's everyone at? I don't think the wolves did any damage to us. Player 3 and I rolled like terrible on our abilities though, so I'm a half. Yeah, but I have life drain, so I'm fine. We should heal you. I don't think I need it. We should top off before fighting what's next. I don't need, maybe not, but we have rests, so we should use them. Player 6, just humor her so we can move on. Alright. At that, Player 6 uses one of their limited rests to fill their health back to maximum. So we're good to go. Sounds like it. My character Mew steps forward into the cave, scanning the ceiling with their lantern. Someone else should watch the water. You said the water is knee-deep just about? Outside, yes. Inside the cave, it's like a wet stone floor with a few puddles that don't reach your ankle. A cold, clammy feeling caresses your skin, frizzing your hair. But it's not just cold, you feel something else. How descriptive. Is it the monsters we're hunting? The party took a job from House Malka to clear out a den in the swamp, despite their previous standoff. The monsters were raiding caravans of every house aside from House Ventor, House Malka's rival. And so the enemy of House Malka's enemy is their guinea pig. House Ventor specializes in using Highborn, though they've also been known to work with Midborn, particularly those they can manipulate. The only description the party got of the monsters was that they're large, primitive greenskins. The leader wears an ox skull as a shoulder pauldron. House Malka wants that shoulder pauldron as proof of a job complete, and a bonus for any proof House Ventor is connected. Era? Sorry, I was reviewing my notes. I asked if the feeling we had is related to the monsters we're tracking. It doesn't seem directly related to the monsters, though Mew was checking the ceiling specifically. Yeah, Mew was using their bullseye lantern. You get this soreness in your fingertips, specifically under your nails. It comes and goes and pulses, strongest when you shine the light deeper in the cave. Mew whispers, "What the F?" Tyrius walks up to you. Is something wrong? Every time I look at the ceiling, I get this pulse of pain. I raise my torch and look deeper into the cave. Do I feel it too? Tyrius feels fine. In fact, you get a warmth to the backs of your hands. Not fire warm, but like someone's resting their hand on yours. I don't feel warm, I don't feel pain, just warm. What? Everyone, get over here. The entire party shines light further into the cave, reporting their reactions. Player 1's character Tyrius and Player 6's character Zerstrata both just feel somewhat warm to the hand. Player 3's character 3, and Player 5's character Mew each feel that sore, pulsing pain. Player 2's character 2, and Player 4's character Elena don't feel anything. Do we just press on then? I want to figure out why I don't feel anything first. We can figure that out once we know what it is. What links these characters together? I used a torch while Player 5 used a lantern, but I also used a torch and I still got pain. It's not gender-based or anything weird like that. It's not class-based. Player 1 is a caster and I'm a specialist, but we both feel warm. You're multi-class with caster 2, so it could be class-based. But I'm a specialist and player 3 is a caster. No multi-classing, but we both felt pain. Maybe it's random, but Arrow didn't roll for each of us. Stop metagaming, man. Oh, that's... Sorry. The party starts going off in a different direction, but they were so close. They nearly had the answer. How do you want to handle this? So this is the exact same circumstance. Do you want to let them talk it through? Do you want to make it so that you push the action forward by adding a complication? Or do you want to talk with them as another player? Give them some advice. Hellsinger Bridge and those attacking soldiers singing London Bridge is falling down. Rocks fall, oh my gosh. I just popped in because I'm going into game design at college and thought it'd be fun to watch someone else do game dev. Yeah, so this as visual novel is a lot of just prose. It's a lot of writing. It's not a lot of scripting, which is why I can do it. I am not very good at scripting. Stay quiet, let them solve, rocks fall. Those are two different answers. The London Bridge is The London Bridge falling is a good thing because it's going to keep them in Britain so they can't infect the rest of the world. You sound like Brexit. Okay, I'm going to drop a hint to speed things up. Telling the party the answer would just put a damper on their fun, but providing a hint like you're just another player is fair game. Oh, don't interrupt? Okay, fine. Don't interrupt. They're engaging with the game. That's 2 votes. As frustrating as it is for you, who knows what's going on? This is their game. No point in cutting that short. Though this does slow things down, the party works out through some other similarities between them to figure this out. Backstory, order entering the cave, height, how many abilities they each know. They effectively go over every single answer aside from the answer. Until... Wait, player 1 and player 6 are both highborn and felt warm. This place is tied to House Ventor, who are known for using highborn. What are you again? Midborn, and I feel nothing. Player 2? Same here. I'm multi-classed into highcaster, but I'm a midborn. I'm a lowborn lowcaster, and player 5 is a lowborn specialist. So it doesn't have to deal with your class, but your ancestry. That's the only one that fits. Despite it not actually being that important, the party feels as though it properly solved a mystery. Explore, Pog. So this is a dev comment that indicates that an exploration point was added. In the game, it's not just how confrontational are you, how much are you willing to let them do their own thing, how much are you going to go forward and talk with party. It's also how much are you having them explore versus how much are you having them do combat, how much are you having them roleplay, all of that. Finally, though it appears that slowing the game down to a crawl really frustrated player 5. They tried ignoring the mystery and delving deeper 2 times. I step forward and follow where my fingers hurt the most. I'll follow you with short range so I can tank if something comes up. I assume party orders, same as always. Player 2 and player 5 both went for melee builds, so they're always in front. Player 4 uses equipment with a medium range, which is the same distance as player 3's abilities. Player 1 fights with summons, and player 6 has ranged weapons, so they prefer a long range. Does anyone have anything they'd like to do specifically? I activate Brilliance. No roll, I just want more light in here. Where? Can I choose a rock on the ceiling? You can choose a stalactite, sure. One of the stone pillars explodes in a blinding white light, like a light bulb with too much wattage. Shadows flee, and those of you which aren't highborn squint at the glare. And cowering in the edge of the cave where the darkness once stood is a small, hunched-over greenskin. A goblin? It looks about the size of one, yeah, but it's much more muscular. Then you realize it's hunched over, not short. Its knotted hair tangled into braids with twine. Red paint runs across its neck, like a slit throat. Maybe it's a tattoo? And on its left shoulder is an ox skull, bleached and bulky, swallowing its wearer's upper arm. Oh, the leader! I guess we just kill it. Seriously? What? We can talk to it first. We can, sure, or we can take it out and get out of here. How would we tie it to House Ventor if we just kill it? Loot the body? Does it even seem like it's willing to talk? Looks like the group's verdict will hinge on how you present this. Well, is the orc willing to talk or not? And this is again where like, I want choices to be common enough that you feel like you're shaping the game, but infrequent enough that it's only choices that matter. I don't think that adding a bunch of choices that have no consequence is valuable outside of the after session chats, because I feel like the after session chats is where it's more of like a conversation. It's your persona style conversation. So if we want to fight, it defends its territory. Combat Pog. The orc calls you poopy heads. I think that you're on a different wavelength than I am for this game. The party went into this to hunt monsters, so here's the monster they're going to hunt. The creature growls, clutching a metal insignia hanging from twine around its neck. In a low, stuttering speech, it spits on the ground. Then it barks. It barks? Like a dog? Kind of. Maybe calls out is a better word. It's calling out to us? No. To the multiple green-skinned figures slowly entering the light from deeper in the cave. Aw, F. Here we go. In addition to the leader, there's 6 others. 5-wheeled clubs, animal skins, and bark plates covering their torsos, rugged, weathered, and ready for a fight. But one of them has a proper sword, banged up and ill-maintained, but a real metal blade, and it's a head taller than all the others. But that's not their leader? The one with the ox skull pauldron has no weapons, only that insignia. Does it look like a caster's focus? It does, and you specifically would recognize it as a high caster's focus. What are these things doing with a high caster's focus? I think that insignia might be our connection to House Ventor. The insignia glows red, then yellow, then white. The leader shifts it under the ox skull, making the eye sockets shine. It's go time, people. I'm already using quick hands. How about we roll initiative instead? It was a short, punchy battle, exactly what you were hoping for. The clubbers hit hard and rolled with the punches, but were ultimately just extra bodies. The sword wielder was dangerous to be close to, but went down surprisingly quickly. And the leader used its insignia to burn the party with searing light. But one player got the final blow on the leader and sent the other orcs running. What won that fight? So, who was the one that, won the fight for the group? Was it player 1 that summoned a massive highborn? Did player 2 survive a crit with 1 HP? Or was it player 4 who just controlled the field completely? Which one of them was the coup de grace? The thing that won the fight? The femboy? Okay, sure. The orc leader had what was effectively a flamethrower of light, bathing the party in scalding beams. But player 2 tanked it. And then he survived a critical hit from the sword wielder with 1 HP. With their 2 heaviest hitters getting nowhere, the orcs were swiftly beaten by a nearly untouched party. The party lifted a cracked pauldron from the leader's corpse, tore the insignia from the snap twine around its neck, leaving the cave of corpses behind. And that's where we'll call it this week. This was your first real session running for the group. There's a ripple of chatter that runs through the group as the players decompress. Though now, they seem to be waiting on you for something. Who's on the chopping block? I stayed over last week, so it better not be me. Oh, right. The post-game ritual where one person stays after to help you clean up. Seems like a perfect opportunity to get to know one of them better. It'll probably annoy whoever you choose, though. Especially if they have to stay multiple weeks in a row. Who's staying after? And this is where, out of all 6 of them, you get to just choose which one comes up. Which one, do you have a conversation with after a game and have private time with? Now, do you want to talk to player 4, player 2, player 3? I know a lot of the chat really loves player 3. I think that there's some favoritism towards player 1 as well, because he's very silly. Guess what you'll say? You gotta say it. I'm gonna just go with whoever says a name first. See, Zavi said 1. You waited too much time. Aw, man, I was hoping to dodge it another week. But you're always so helpful. The fact they don't want to be here doesn't mean I'll cut corners. You don't want to be here? You hate us? No, that's not... Come on, guys. We're clearly not welcome here. You sound like a high school bully. You just need a leather jacket and a pompadour. What high school did you go to that those were your bullies? The group heads out of their cars, discussing the socio-political state of the modern-day greaser. Player 1 gathers the minis and sweeps them off the battle map with just a little bit more force than you'd like. Gonna say anything? So, he's not really being that careful around your minis. I don't know about you. I am very careful around my magic cards, around my minis, around my 40k minis. I'm someone who is just... I'm very normal about it. Gonna let him be, alright? Gonna let him be? You focus on rolling up the chip bag and clipping it closed. Player 1 continues to sweep aside the miniatures so we can wipe down the whiteboard your group uses. One of them fell over, but luckily none of them broke. Oh, whoops. I always forget these things aren't toys. Player 3 always has to keep reminding me. I think it bothers the rest of the group how I don't treat these things like they're gold. I just really struggle to get the group sometimes, you know? What do you mean by that? Or do you feel the same? This is a new group. You don't really know them that well. But he clearly isn't there anyway. Not like I'm any more careful with my minis than him. Oh, disrespectful. So what does he mean by that? I don't know. It's just... I joined the group because player 3 invited me on a whim. I'd never even heard of a TTRPG beforehand. Well, I guess I'd heard of them. I just didn't know what they were. So this was a cool experience to try out, but sometimes I wonder if it's just not for me. Do you not have fun? No, I do. I don't really care about if a session has lots of combat or role-playing or exploration. So this is where you get actual information. So that line happens either way. Interesting. Yeah. So in the after sessions, I specifically wanted to avoid, you have to choose which option is super in particular. For the after session chats, it's a lot more classic, like your choices matter where they don't actually matter. Because the point of this is to get to know the character. The point is not to have a branching option. Like certain bits of information need to be hit on for this after session. So for instance, he'll always tell you in session 1, in after session 1, I don't care if there's a lot of combat or role-playing or exploration. I just want to have fun with my friends. I'm not looking for a serious game. Right? But even then, I just don't know how to get into character. Everyone else seems so into it. Like player 3 accommodated that, or player 2 is just here for the combat. Player 4 doesn't seem that interested. Yeah, the illusion of choice. See, sometimes you have to add in illusions. That's game dev, baby. Oh, whoops, not like they're gold. Yes, that is where it comes back. Because I wanted to demonstrate that player 1 isn't like a jerk. I wanted to demonstrate it's more that he just doesn't really get it. He's not someone that really understands why you would put so much value into your minis. Whereas everyone else is like, nah, this mini is me. Why? Like, I don't want it to take any damage. I mean, player 2 is just here for combat. Shows a disregard. Like, player 2 consistently shows a disregard for character in favor of what's fun. He does, sure. But that doesn't mean I feel any more confident in my abilities as a player. I don't feel like they don't welcome me. They're all great. It's just, you don't feel like you belong. Game isn't why you're here. That doesn't make you feel more capable. Exactly. No matter how nice the others are, that doesn't change the fact that I don't fit in. Which is so weird for me, because I never struggled with this anywhere else. Back when I played lacrosse in university, I could be best friends with anyone else who joined the team. At work, I'm the one who asks coworkers to go out for drinks, and most of them say sure. Even when people don't like me or close off, I can just kind of accept that it's a them issue and not a me issue. So why? He seems uncertain as to why he might feel this way. Because you're new at this. Because you don't want to disappoint them. Because maybe this isn't for you. I think I need to fix that. I feel like maybe this isn't for him. Because he doesn't want to disappoint them. Because he's new at this. Okay, we have an ad break. I'm going to pause. So this is a situation where player 1, his arc, his through line is he doesn't feel like he belongs in the group because he is not someone who is super into TTRPGs and nerd stuff. So his arc is about basically accepting that that's okay. You don't need to be like a super nerd in order to enjoy a TTRPG. And he can be the kind of person who enjoys this thing as it comes. He doesn't need to get into character. He doesn't need to like a specific style of play. He can just enjoy playing the game for fun with his friends. Thaumaturgy establishes a symbolic link between a small thing and a big thing. Then an action on the small scale would reflect on the big scale. That's right, folks. Getting too attached to your minis is dangerous. Disagree. I think that the more you put into your mini, the more you put into your dice, the more sympathetic magic you invoke upon these effigies of chance gives you greater control over them. Now, I think it also gives them greater control over you, so you need to be accounting for that. However, I do think that the more like energy you put into your mini, the more it will pay out. Drink more water. Yes, I did not eat food before stream because, as I mentioned, I was brushing my teeth when I started stream. So I'm gonna get real hungry real quick. I think I'm gonna go like 4 hours. Creating a voodoo doll of yourself. I mean, that sounds horrible. So I must ink my minis red so they go faster. Why do you think I inked Hive Fleet Chronos the way it is? Oh, also, I am probably going to do another mini painting stream Wednesday. It was a lot of fun, and I have more minis to paint. So I'll probably go through paint more Termagants. I'll probably go through, paint my Termagants and my Barbgons, because now I know what I'm doing, right? Now I understand what I should be doing now. I just did my nails again. Get a yogurt with granola. No, that's my plan. My plan is after stream, I'm going to grab a yogurt and granola. Have you considered doing a small break to eat something? I have. However, that sounds terrible. Not just eat while game deving. I hate that. I hate people who just like on stream will just like eat a bag of chips, or they'll be like eating ramen or like drinking like a soda or something. And it's just like, please, I did not join the stream to hear you chomping down. Like I've seen people who go long enough that they have to take a dinner break. Like they're streaming 10 hours and they're like, hey, I'm going to take a 20-minute break. I'm going to step away. I'm going to eat dinner and then I'm going to come back. That's horrifying to me because like I would lose all my viewers if I did that. However, that is probably smarter than just eating on stream. Welcome back, everyone. Because you don't want to disappoint them. These are your friends. It's only natural you're worried about living up to their expectations. Though that doesn't mean your conception of their expectations are actually what they feel. Like conception of their expectations? You aren't in their head, and last time I checked, you weren't a lowcaster out of game. Lowcaster? Lowcasters have an ability that can read minds? Ah, got it. Guess I'm just nervous is all. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know. Doesn't make the feeling go away though. Well, if you need some coaching, I got you. What, like private lessons? Do you roll with it or do you not make it weird? Like, or should I say roll with it or commit to the bit? I feel like I chase it to commit to the bit. Okay. Commit to the bit. Depends on if that'd work. Do you respond to the carrot or the stick? Player 1 thinks about it for a moment. I like carrots, but a cool stick can't be beat, so I'd go with that. I'm more meant in terms of you being praised or punished. Why'd I ever want to be punished? We aren't on the same page, are we? Arrow? Don't worry about it. You good to keep cleaning up? Oh, criminy. We totally wrapped up in conversation, weren't we? I was hoping to get out of here like 10 minutes ago. Not that I don't enjoy your company. You head out then, or let's hurry up. Do you want to spend more time with him? You can spend some more time with him. You head out then. I can wrap this up. You head on out. No way! I was selected this week, so I won't hang you out to dry. Serious, player 1. Oh. I'm serious, player 1. This isn't my tradition, it's player 3's. I don't mind if you have things to do. Well, if you say so. Thanks. Player 1 hurried out the door, leaving you to the table. Despite his force, player 1's assistance actually made things go faster than you'd ever by yourself. So his absence made the final cleanup an absolute crawl by comparison. You would lose all your viewers just because we shoot each other? Arrow, you really built your audience? What does that mean? What is that in reference to? So that Discord Thomas art reflects Arrow now, as well as Arrow in the end of the stream. Shake my head. I'm a bit of a foodie. What, did Thomas just drop art recently? Is that what you're referencing? I'm uncertain what you're specifically referencing. Carrot and stick and himbo? Oh, yeah. I mean, listen. All I'm going to say. Subtly flirting with a himbo who doesn't get it. That's the average fantasy for my viewer. The average fantasy for my viewer is flirting with a himbo who's too oblivious to pick up on it, and also having an attractive older woman like cabed on you. Those are the two fantasies that I think my audience has more than anything else. Yeah, I built my audience brick by brick. Renaissance Jock enjoyed the session. Player 2 had a great time. Player 3 enjoyed some of the session. Player 4 had a good time. Player 5 didn't enjoy the session. Player 6 enjoyed some of the session. Another week since your last session. Unfortunately, Player 3 wasn't feeling well. Wasn't feeling well today. Another week since your last session. Unfortunately, player 3 wasn't feeling well today and had to cancel last minute. How'd you respond? Screw player... No! You ran a game that slowed down to a crawl, and so player 5 did not have a good time. Player 5 was struggling to enjoy themselves because everything was super slow. So how do you respond when one of your players last minute is like, I'm so sorry, I can't make it? Like, I think you should wish her well. You wished her well and a speedy recovery. Her response was simple. I wish I could just magic away cramps. She expressed her apologies for canceling last minute, and you continued the session with the rest of the party. Upon returning to House Malka, the party was rewarded for not only retrieving the Ox Skull, but also the House Ventor signal. That did little to repair their reputation, though. So with no more work at House Malka, the party took the initiative to infiltrate House Ventor themselves. They had to rely on Player 1 and Player 6 to do the talking, given House Ventor's bias against Highborn. Bias towards Highborn. Bias towards Highborn. Though due to some assistance from the rest of the party, they managed to secure an invitation to an upcoming masquerade. One shopping trip later, the party had nice enough outfits and distinct enough masks to fit in, but their ability to actually mingle was another matter. Why was mingling so difficult? It was a raucous, debaucherous party, or the rules of polite society, and this is a situation where you might not notice this at first glance. This actually determines how serious of a game it is. Is it a silly game where it's raucous and debaucherous, or is it serious where it's like polite society and you have to like navigate that? A bias in favor of Highborn. So bias in such a way that Highborn are valued more than everyone else. Player 5 clearly isn't lifeless enough. Real nerds are willing to waste 10 consecutive hours. Oh my gosh. Debaucherous? Silly pog. Luckily, this was an adventurer-friendly environment. A band of summoned Highborn blared upbeat music with a magic-boosted bass drum kicking momentum forward. An open bar served alcohol-infused pastries, and a vat of what was best described as medieval jungle juice. Nobles and servants danced around one another, laughing despite their rancor relationship. Some snuck off to back rooms, lingering with smoke and hushed voices for some privacy. Masks were merely a vessel to keep yourself anonymous as you engaged in vice. And as such, actually getting information from anyone turned out to be quite difficult. The party reconvened in a private room. We're not getting anywhere. This certainly isn't what I expected. I think it's cool. I didn't say it wasn't cool, I just said it was unexpected. We still have no idea who here is tied to the orcs. Kinda wish we asked for information on their supplier now. Well, it's a little late for that. I was expecting to have some sort of clout for being a Highborn, but they just keep ignoring me. That's because you're not the most charismatic. What the hell, man? What, you didn't build Tyrius to be a social character? Oh, you meant... right. What avenues haven't we explored yet? First, we need to figure out exactly what we're looking for. Who's working with the orcs? Yes, but how do we find that out? The players didn't really come here with a plan, and now they're suffering as a result. In all honesty, you didn't expect them to come here at all, so you barely threw notes together during their shopping? They don't have a lead because you never gave them one. And what if there's more going on? Player 6 is a genius. You planned on introducing the cult who makes up House Ventor's upper caste in the next session, but now's a good time as any. The only question is, how do you get the players informed about the cult's existence? A hapless servant will do. As you're discussing this, a servant slips into the room you're in. They put a hand on their throat and bow to you all. Their eyes never raise above your feet, and they speak at the ground. If you're waiting on the Baron, I'm afraid he has other business to attend to tonight. Sorry about that. Who the hell is Baron? Do any of us recognize that name? Yeah, so the servant says the Baron, and they think it's just the name Baron. The current head of House Ventor is Baron Victor Ventor. The guy thinks we're waiting to meet the head of House Ventor? We can use this. I roll my eyes and say, after he kept us waiting so long? The servant bows just a little deeper. Sorry again, but unfortunately, the defense of the Order comes before its scheduled meetings. That is a quote that I need to do. Ordo. I need a apostrophe at the end of that. The Ordo, that doesn't ring a bell. Should we ask about it? That'd definitely show we're not whoever the servant thinks we are. And when will Victor be done? Unclear, though it sounded as though the Baron would be busy for the remainder of the party. Sorry again. Can this guy stop apologizing? You're one to talk. The players now know about the Ordo Tyrannus, or at least have a lead on it. Your initial plan was to have the servant name drop it and leave, though why not let the servant say everything? That might not be the most realistic, but it could be very fun. So would having the servant realize their mistake and the party having to follow them. How does the party get more information on the Ordo? They tail the servant, or they question the servant. So this is a situation where you have combat, you have exploration, and you have role-playing. If they tail the servant, that's exploration. They have to follow them. It's a puzzle. And if they question the servant, that's role-playing. And this is a situation where player 1 said, hey, I don't really care about role-playing or combat or exploration. I just care about not playing a serious game. I just want to have fun with my friends. So a raucous debaucherous party was fun for player 1. Now, who else is there that might have a situation where they enjoy either exploration or role-playing? Tails never fails. Pull their tail. All right, they tail the servant. The players ask some more probing questions, which the servant grows steadily more wary of. It reaches a breaking point when even the low-born player 5 calls the Baron simply Victor. At that, even behind the mask, you can see the servant go pale. They recognize they aren't talking to who they thought they were. I'm gonna grab them. Wait, what if we tail them instead? What do you mean? If we just hold them down and interrogate them, they have no reason to give us truthful information. I have auger tongue, so if I roll for it, they can't intentionally lie. What are we gonna do after? Stab them? You might be right. How do we play off this whole situation? What if we just let him go? That might work. If none of you try anything, the servant simply apologizes that they drank too much and that they were speaking nonsense. With a quicker and lighter step than you'd expect, they slip back out the door. I'm going after them. I'm a highborn specialist, should I? Why can't you both go? All of us specialists might as well. The three of you slip out the door in turn and are greeted with the entire masquerade in full swing. Someone has summoned support for the band, and they're about twice the volume they were before. A verifiable mosh pit has formed, where servants and nobles are slamming into each other, knocking masks aside and laughing. And the servant is nowhere to be found. What was their mask like? Was it a bone-white half-mask that exposes their chin and mouth, curling like fangs with their jaw? Or an anthropomorphic wolf head? As you might have guessed, one of these is more serious than the other. I have an assumption about what you want to see, so I'm just going to click this one. What, like a fursuit? Are all of the Ordo just furries? Then why'd they think we were in the Ordo? Suspicions raised as the entire table eyes one another warily. Game, guys? The various specialists split off and search the main floor. Which one finds the servant? Player 4, player 5, or player 6? And then this is another situation where like one of them gets a special little moment. One of them gets a little bit of a laurel that they can rest on. The Ordo fursuits. I'm very upset that I missed part of the stream. Oh, Cell. I'm sorry, Celador. Luckily, the VOD will be there. You only missed like an hour. I was distracted. For like 45 minutes, I will say. There was some gap. I think player 5 bumps into them. Literally. Took the initiative and rushed forward, literally bumping into the servant. Due to the activity around them, they simply muttered an apology and continued on. Player 5 followed them to the staff-only section and watched them head left. From that turn, the servant explained something to a guard out of the party's earshot. They gestured in the chamber and then went up a flight of stairs that led to the tallest tower of Manor Ventor. The specialist returned to the rest of the party and explained the situation, filing out into the safety of the crowd. Do we just go for it? I don't see why not. As you say that, you see a guard step into position beside the staff-only entrance. I'll just never speak again, got it? Why can't we just walk by? We could take them. I'm all for reasonable tactical engagements. That sounds dumb. I don't think starting a fight here is our smartest option either. Oh, sorry. Why are you sorry? Just because it was a bad idea doesn't mean anything about you. So we're just putting on a safety vest and clipboard and walking through? What? You know, how no one will stop you if you seem like you belong? I don't think we can get safety vests here. And that doesn't sound much better than just hoping it'll work out. The party's divided and doesn't seem to be making a decision anytime soon. Well, what will you do? Guards spot them an approach, suggest an alternative, or let them puzzle it out. I was working on a music playlist for my New Orleans by Night game and chatting with an RP buddy. Yeah, I was up late last night chatting with someone, and I got up later than I intended. I'm tired. But it's always fun talking to a friend, particularly when it's spontaneous. Like, I was not expecting to have a conversation with this friend that like at 2 a.m., but sometimes you just text for someone for an hour at 2 a.m. and it's a really fun experience. Guards pressure him, repair company hat and ladder never fails. Exactly. So guards spot him. As you're discussing, I think as your... Sorry, I need to add in... I didn't add in the U tags. Whoops. So, as you're discussing this, the guard at the staff-only entrance locks eyes with you. They see you staring and discussing, perhaps even seeing the lowborn among you. That sounds bad. The guard steps away from the post and walks towards you. That sounds good. All right, follow my lead. Player 4 leads the group in a backtracking arc, where the guard loses sight of them briefly and allows them to sneak past. At the staff-only entrance, another guard is further into the right, so the party heads left. What? Frickin' A. Frickin' A. My mistake. My bad. My B. So now what? Up those stairs. You head up the stairs, a slight echo to each footfall. There's no light in here, so those of you who aren't lowborn are operating entirely off of touch. Really? No torches? Torches are only for outdoor lighting, candles for inside, but usually it's more efficient to carry them around. You learn something new every day. It takes a few minutes to reach the top, spiraling in a stone circle over and over until you reach a reinforced door. Light shines from underneath, not the flicker of flame, the glowing radiance of brilliance. I guess that makes sense. Can we hear anything? It sounds like someone is speaking and there's this flute being played. Let's go in. Let's talk first. I want to figure out what that flute is. We'll find out if we go in. Can you cool it for 5 minutes? I was cool the whole way up here. Now my character's antsy. If you wanted light, I could have made some. Can all of you shut up so I can hear? Inside, the flute is playing notes seemingly without melody, though they are repeating. Player 6, Zerstrata is a background in music. Correct. You and Tyrius can easily put together that these is... What the frick? That these is... Player 6, Zerstrata has a background in music, question mark? Correct. You and Tyrius can easily put together that this is some kind of component of a ritual. The stakes are only natural at first. Where notes are being played to guide a rhythmic somatic component. So the flute's not actually important, it's just to keep someone on track. Or someone's. I checked to see if the door's locked. What? Why is this so screwy? Was it because I was like just kind of grinding to wrap it up last time? Why? Like there's so many errors here. It's not. You ready? Can I prepare a hearty? Wait. So I need like if that caught me up, my ability. Can I prepare my ability hearty first? Yeah, and anyone else can do any preparation they want. I want to summon a lesser highborn under my control. Go ahead and roll. Anyone else? Shadow Strat on me. I'm going to take out those potions I got, just to make sure they're accessible. Everyone confirms their abilities, and so the party opens the door. Inside is a study, with shelves lining the walls and filled with tomes. 2 tables push into the wall under closed windows. Off to the side, a group of 6 masked individuals kneel beside a woman playing a flute. They sway in unison, hands making odd gestures. In the room's center is a well-dressed man standing perfectly still. Okay. So this is where... Okay. If... Ventor... Mask. Okay. So what I'm gonna do. If Ventor Mask... True... is true... What? If... I don't remember the syntax of this. I'm not gonna lie. Hi, Rufus. I don't remember the syntax of this. I'm not gonna lie. I like this redeem. It is a very fun redeem. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to the choice where the Mask of the Servant... There's choice with the Mask of the Servant. What's their mask like? I'm going to say... Ventor Mask is assigned... False. Ventor Mask is assigned true. Makes... the cult wear bone masks, makes makes the cult wear furry masks. I like the idea that like the servant is wearing the same kind of mask as the rest of the ritual, therefore that will perpetuate. Edgy furry mask versus surprisingly goofy serious fang mask. Contrast. Oh my gosh. So I need to figure out. So this is that. If they question the servant, I think I give the same choice. Because as a result, the servant from the party that the Baron is currently in, I think what I add here is I add the exact same choice. I add pass. And then in front of this menu, I add just like, hey, add choice. We go back up here. Do that. Servant quickly revealed a number of details relevant to the party's investigation. The orcs were under the employ of the Ordo Tyrannus. The orcs were under the employ of the Ordo Tyrannus. It'd be funny if a servant is wearing a goofy furry mask and absolutely would be rather doing anything else but being there. Like, not in an anti-furry way, but why am I being obligated to participate? Yeah. So the orcs were under the employ of the Ordo Tyrannus, a cult dedicated to enforcing the divine rule of Highborn upon all others. These members were currently at the party. Most of its members were currently at this party wearing masks similar to the servants. What was their mask like? And then this is where it's bone white mask, bone white mask. And then this is where Ventor mask false. They all wear bone masks. Ventor mask true. And then just like and then as a result of the party's probing, the servant informed them that the Baron was currently engaged in a ritual at the top of Ventor Tower. The details of the ritual the servant won't say, but it deals with the lowborn from beyond. At their leave, the servant quickly fled the scene. How do we feel about this? So now it's that there is a choice in either branch of what their mask look like. Is it a furry mask or is it a bone mask? And then I'm going to add so if Ventor mask is false, yeah. If Ventor mask, I think I can just say if Ventor mask false, or false is bone mask, furry mask. Expanding hands make an odd unison. Like a sea of, like a crowd of fanged skeletons. They wobble. They gyrate. Like a crowd of fanged skeletons. They gyrate. Back and forth. With they gyrate back and forth claw at their own throats. I think this is where I go. Up, up. And then I go up, up. So in the room center is a well-dressed man sitting perfectly still, his expression hidden by a snarling by a corpse mask. Serene and unbothered. And then this is you. So if they're in furry masks, they're a crowd of animals. Wolves and turtles and birds. Wolves and turtles and bird-headed wolf and so how would I describe this? Wolf and turtle, wolf masked and bird-headed, right? So wolf masked and bird-headed as they pluck at their own skin and necks. And then this is where in the room's center is a barely dressed hairy man. His expression is hidden by a wild, snarling bear mask. I think I'm making like Victor Ventura bear. His expression is hidden by a wild, snarling bear mask that licks its lips. Permanently licks its lips. And then this is where he turns over to look. Okay, so we're gaming. So they swing in unison, their hands making out gestures. What the frick? What the frick? Okay. What happened? Line 935. If Ventor mask. Oh, it's because we didn't assign this. Duh. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just for now, I'm going to say Ventor mask is assigned to false. Right. Syntax on. Did I just like do the? Oh, is it just if is false? Am I just dumb? Roll back. Okay, if I do this. Okay, yeah. So then, oh, sorry. So what I did is I went here. I added to the game capture. I added to this, just automatically assign it that. This is just for testing purposes. And then that makes it false because we added that in after we already passed that point in the script. So then I just made that so that it automatically does this. Off to the side, they sway in unison. Like a crowd of fanged skeletons, they gyrate back and forth and claw at their own throats. The room centers a well-dressed man standing perfectly still, his expression hidden by a corpse mask, serene and unbothered. Now if I go back to here and I say is assigned true, I add that back. Now, they're a crowd of animals, wolf-masked and bird-headed as they pluck their own skin and necks. In the room center is a barely dressed hairy man. His expression is hidden by a wild, snarling bear mask that permanently licks its lips. So now, I'm going to back in here, comment that out. I don't need this anymore. I can just delete it, really. So now, that's set up. He turns to look over his shoulder at all of you, and you see the golden glow of the high plane in his eyes. He speaks simply and with a voice that echoes in your mind. Ah, and here come our honored guests. And that's where we'll leave it for the week. The whole table erupts in groans and objections to cutting it off here. We still have 10 minutes. Do you really think we can finish this encounter in 10 minutes? Maybe. We could kill this guy in 5. Not to mention that player 3 isn't here, so I'd love to give her the chance to be here for that. Oh, heck, I guess I'm missing that then. You won't be here next week? Yeah, I got a work thing that I can't dodge, so I'll just have to miss it. We can skip next week. We don't really have time, but does any other day work? After some discussion, it turns out next week at the normal time works best for everyone. It seems as though player 1 will just have to miss it. Player 1 really enjoyed the session. Player 2 had a bad time. Player 3 didn't enjoy the session. Player 4 had a great time. Player 5 really enjoyed the session. Player 6 enjoyed the session. And then this is that. So now we're at the point where we are at the end of what we have written. Now we need to add in after sessions. Eric, can I show a meme about coding, please? You can post it in the memes channel in the Discord. New B tier wizard animation just dropped. This time it's Barbarossa. My beloved. Hello. Is there something like a to-do marker in this so that you don't lose the spot you're going to fix later? So what I do with that is I just go... Right. Although apparently this has unique syntax. I did not know that. But I'll just be like, update this. And then later I'll just be like, update this. Oh, okay, I have to update this. That's what I do. And that's like not the way you should do it, but that's how I personally do it. Gyrate, maybe one of the players gets to make a joke about that. The serious gathering of them and then the wording maybe spot on for silly, preferring players to drop a giggle. Oh my gosh. Darn, I was about to say, just imagine if you let them and they actually managed to body the encounter. Well, so, okay. Now what we need to do, just like last week, just like the previous session, at the end, there is... This is where you wrap up and then you call the choice. So this is where after this, I'm going to go all the way back down. We already have week 2 after session. We already have the call choice. We need the lead in. So this is going to be call after session from week 2. Week 2. See, the thing with RenPy is that you can call functions, which is effectively instantiating the function, but instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to use the function week 2 after session and then continue on, what calling does is it jumps over to the label that is the function, right? So if I call week 2 after session, instead of continuing down here, I instead jump to right there. And then from there, I continue until I hit a return. Return hits me back to where I was, and then from return, I continue forward. So I need a from statement, a from qualifier, after I call, so that if I update this, and you, as a player, have save data, that the unique from function won't change if I drop a new release. So if I have from XYZ, and then I release this, and then you save here, and then like you have the call from here, and you call from this, and then you save when you're in this label. If I don't have a from function, it will add an automatic one, which might be like that, right? That's what it'll be like. And so if that is what it automatically produces, and then I make an edit to the code, and then I re-release it, it might make one that's like this. And this is a different from function. So that means when you, in your saved data, are saved in label week 2 after session, you return, but you have no place to return to because you have a different from statement. And so it breaks the game. And so in RenPy, you need to remember to always from statement after all call statements. Can you just try to type the word to do in the comment to check if you don't mind? Oh no, I'm backseat coding, you're fine. Like honestly, with something like coding, please backseat, please tell me what I can do to make it more efficient. I understand that the nests of menus I'm making are not the most efficient way to do this. And honestly, what I want to do is I want to set up screens. I've set up screens in other games. Like for instance, how many of you don't know? How many of you don't know that I have like released the game on itch? It's not a good game. It's not a game that I think is beautiful or amazing or wonderful. But it's certainly a game that I'm proud of. Are there like flags you can set in place on a code and tell it directly go to that flag? Yeah, so like if I call this label, I can do that from anywhere. And I can also, for instance, if I make a menu, right? If I go text, and then I go menu text, option 1, pass. And then I go like this. So from here, I could call either week 2 after session 1. So then I would start here and then I would go through text. And then I go to menu 2, menu text, and then I would call. Or I could jump all the way from this call to menu text. I could just jump from here into menu text and skip this text if I really wanted. Right? So week 2 and 1. I have. I wouldn't say it's very good, but what I did in it, and I can show you. Game window. Oh, this is so loud. I'm so sorry. Can I... Preferences. Music volume way down. So, Spread the Horizon's Edge. This is a game where you are a hiring manager at an adventuring firm. So you are a hiring manager for a soulless corporation that wants nothing more than to spread its influence, employee base, and profit margins. This corporation just so happens to be an adventurers guild in a fantasy setting, so don't be surprised if your boss is the literal devil. I made this for a game jam. Greetings, Sentient Resources Representative. Please note that while you apply to be a Human Resources Representative, a new internal policy dictates the use of less anthrocentric language. Failure to comply with nomenclature will result in a disciplinary infraction. Your job is to acquire new talent for the Horizon's Edge Adventuring Company, HEAG, that you think will be a good fit for our family. Interview applicants to see if they're both competent enough to join and if they're agreeable to working in a party. If you believe someone is emotionally secure enough to resist peer pressure and gaslighting, please ensure they are not hired. If you are on the fence about someone, just deny them and hope the next person is better. Just note that there will be no penalty for denying applicants. Please remember that you are being judged on the quality of applicants you approve. In order to ensure our hiring process is equitable, you have a minor curse of blinding inflicted upon you to minimize bias and ensure blind recruitments in the most literal senses. This means applicants will appear as silhouettes, so do what you can to keep track of who said what. We also required all applicants to drink a truth serum, meaning they will be compelled to be honest in their answers, even if it would harm their chances. Some applicants may have gotten around this, but we trust you shall be skilled enough to handle such outliers. As a final note, origin stories and work experience are not just as unique as applicants believe they are. Repetition is not justification for denial by itself. If you have any further questions, please consult the HEAG reference book located on your desk before wasting our time. Lukewarm regards, Management. And so this is a situation where it's a significant amount of guesswork based on incomplete information. As a result, it's willing to provide you feedback. This will have no direct gameplay impact other than explicitly stating management's opinion. Is it good or is it bad hire? Sure. Bad deals afterlife employment? A little bit. Another applicant approaches. So, Horizon's Edge Adventuring Guild Interview Question Guide. What is your name? Feel free to call me Aribai. Let's get some more interesting questions, shall we? Ancestry and age. Please state your ancestry and age. If you must know, half-dwarf and 78. What's it to you? Adventuring experience. Adventuring experience? It all started when a party went rogue and started attacking the people they were supposed to protect. It was a real struggle to deal with for me and everyone else. We lost a lot of people before someone finally got to their leader. Education? Highest level of education? Growing up, I worked as an apprentice for a while, but didn't keep with it. I wonder how my life would have changed if things were different. I just found that I pick things up quickly. Skills, facts, and even enemy tactics just come easy to me. Oh. Whoops. This is broken. Don't worry about this. Motivation? My motivation to join HEAG is that I need money. That isn't the only reason I'm interested in joining, but it's one of the main ones. Joining a community like HEAG sounds like a really good experience. It'll be nice having a whole guild to work alongside. How'd you hear about us? Please state how you heard about us. I've always known about Heeg, but never really looked into it. I spent the past few days learning everything I could about it. Why do you want to know? So, would you hire this person? Let me see if their references are still broken. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to go in the code for this. I'm just showing off this cool little thing. So if I click on the reference book, there's a whole table of contents here that's like the oldest rule in the book. Because of the hazardous situation, consider their age. The younger ancestries, humans, orcs, and half-orcs, should not be younger than 20 or older than 60. The older ancestries should not be younger than 30 or older than 90. And then competency ratings in U. Their competency rating, or CR, if they're high CR, it will lead to promotions and new exciting responsibilities. A low CR will lead to termination and new financially unsupported responsibilities. You're being judged solely on your CR. The following will increase your CR. Hiring an exceptionally competent applicant. Hiring an exceptionally agreeable applicant. Hiring an applicant of above average competence and agreeableness. Managing a quest that ends in success. The following will decrease it. Hiring an underage or overage applicant regardless of how qualified they are. Hiring an applicant below average competence and agreeableness. Managing a quest that ends in failure. Each individual death of an adventurer. Questions. Why am I asking them? Name and age are important administrative questions. Under certain circumstances, their answers may disqualify them. Their adventuring experience and education are their competence. Their references and motivation are their agreeableness. And like, here's some pieces of advice. The circumstances of their life don't reflect their competence. It's all about how they respond. Applicants don't reference concrete examples of their personal contributions, usually aren't worthy. Be wary of applicants who focus on the accomplishments of others or claim everyone is unreasonable. You can ignore the question about how they heard about Heeg. It doesn't really matter. The motion of promotion, like you go to like manage quests and like blah, blah, blah. So like I made a whole thing about this. They're short, don't hire them. Unworthy for hire. I'm sorry to say, but you're not worthy. Don't let that discourage you from applying again another time. They walk out, rejected. Another applicant approaches. Please state your name. You may refer to me as Elactum. Thank you for the opportunity. Ancestry and age? My ancestry is of orc blood. I am 34. What else would you like to know? Adventuring experience? The most memorable was definitely when I dealt with a necromancer who raised an army of skeletons and set them loose. These guys were vicious, nasty to the core. It wasn't easy, but we managed to drive them off. Took far longer than I expected, but we got it done. What's your highest level of education? Growing up, I never went to school. Everything I know is self-taught. I'm glad to be past that point in my life. Being taught is hard, but I found I really enjoy learning. I did what worked for me and eventually found a way to thrive. Do references still broken? Yeah, I don't know what broke about references. They were fine last time I checked. Please state your motivation. I want to join Heeg because I need money. That isn't the only reason, but it's one of the main ones. The guild is known for its quality and competence. It would do well for me to be surrounded by people I can learn from. How'd you hear about us? I've known about Heeg for quite a while, but was never involved with it. I've spoken with some people about it, and they all seemed quite positive. I hope that nothing I said would disqualify me. So, I think you're worthy. You've been found worthy. Welcome. Head through the doors behind me to start your onboarding. Your competence rating was unaffected from this hire due to the average competence and agreeableness. So even though they sounded nice, they were just average. What notes would you like to add to the file? Betrayal. A new applicant is approaching. Name. Please state your name. Remake. I'm prepared to answer whatever you may ask. Ancestry and age. I'm a half-orc. I'm 47 years old. Do I need to go into more detail? What's your adventuring experience? The one that comes to mind is there was an entire army of organized bandits. Can't even begin to describe how dangerous this was. There were mass evacuations in every nearby village. There was a time where where the whole lot of them were chasing me for hours on end. I barely managed to lead them back to a trap we had set up before they got me. What's your highest level of education? In my youth, I worked at home, so I never had time for school. Most of my success is independent of my education. I found I've got a natural aptitude for problem solving. What's your motivation? I need money. All of them need money, apparently. Once my party fell apart, I really felt lost in what to do. I considered finding a freelance party, then I heard guild parties. No matter what my interests are, I understand I'll have to compromise with my guildmates. Otherwise, nothing would get done. How'd you hear about us? Please state how you heard about us. There were some flyers that said I could apply, so I applied. I'd never heard of Heeg beforehand. Is that the last question? Let's say you're worthy. You're worthy! They were average. Okay. Time for another interview. No, and this goes on for a little bit. And then I think it's once you have 3 hires, it might be 4 hires, that you move on to the next day. Please say your name. For Mahdi II. Hopefully no one here knows my past. What's your ancestry and age? If you really have to know, I'm a 24-year-old human. That is, if I was telling the truth. What is your adventuring experience? The most memorable was definitely when I dealt with a werewolf that was gathering a whole pack of direwolves. These guys were nasty. I led the reconstruction efforts after they dealt with it. Education. Highest level of education. I became fully licensed as an artisan. It's not something I remember fondly. Education isn't really important. It's not like we use the things we learned, but I get it's important to weed out folks who don't know what they're doing. This person does not seem very good. The one that comes to mind is that I need money. Why does everyone need money? There's a random role for this. Jeez. Sure, you're worthy. It was raised due to their exceptional competence and or agreeableness. Pog. Someone new is approaching. What's your name? I am Beezanub. You've probably heard of me before. Please state your ancestry and age. Never seen a half-orc do what I do at age 46 before? If you couldn't tell, maybe they can't either. Everyone needs money. The person doesn't seem to be very good. They were, apparently. The most skilled was when I dealt with a necromancer, taking out their leadership and focused on keeping civilians safe. Education. You never went to school. I wonder how my life would have been. Regardless, I tend to rely on instinct. This person doesn't seem that good. Please state your motivation. I'm here because it's safer to work in a guild than freelancer. Between you and me, I'm state mandated to be here. It was this or cleaning dungeons. My last party was very tight-knit. I learned a lot about communicating teamwork. Sure, you're worthy. Was unaffected because they're average. Boo. And with that, you're done. Due to your recruitment efforts, 1 point has been added to your competence rating without negative changes. The net total results in a change of 2 points. Once your shift is over, you went out on the town to get a strong drink and a good meal. Even though you felt tired from the daily grind, you found the night rejuvenated you completely. Soon enough, though, it was time for more interviews. And then you continue. And I'm just going to say worthy. I'm going to say unworthy. Because I just want to show you... I just want to show you what the quests are like. I'm just going to grind for people that are worthy. Don't worry about it. Okay, so it's been raised by 2. Competency rating of 4. So enough first time. I think it's that the cutoff is if you're at competency rating 5. Yeah, so like this is something where you might have noticed there's no menu options. None of these have been menu options. It's all native in the actual parchment. Yeah, I would make severe changes to this. Mage. Okay. 5. As you're on your way out, you notice that the letter is on your desk. Folded neatly in the middle, it's the same parchment management used for official notices. Greetings, Sentient Resources Representative. Due to your recent performance, your name was put forward in consideration for promotion. After a thorough review, we are pleased to announce that you've been promoted to the role of Senior Sentient Resource Representative. Along with a snazzy new title, you get the opportunity to take on extra work for no additional pay. After you complete your interviews each day, you will choose a quest to manage and assemble a party to complete it. These parties will be comprised of adventurers who you have hired. Please note that many of the adventurers you hired will be occupied by other quests, so you have to work around whoever's available each night, and remember, you're responsible for what happens on the quests. Tepid regards, management. So, you're expected to manage requests. So, you have a couple quests to deal with, so, help wanted. Out of nowhere, swarms of rats began terrorizing the whole countryside, and or the challenges, rumor says that robed figures gather in secret to conduct rituals each night in our village. Rated this quest apprentice level. This reward the standard rate. Help wanted, not available. And of the challenges of our artisan needs an expert guidance to deal with what's going on in our city. It's a master quest. So it's just 2 quests. This one is easier. So we have 2 names that I do not remember who they were, and this is why you can add notes to them. But I said Boo and Pog. So I'm going to go Pog, and they're the only 2 options. Another day, Heeg, after you find out how the quest went, that is, it was a failure. Fortunately, the party survived. Because of your work, 0 points have been added. Great! while also lowering by 2 points. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, on a different quest, someone grew more competent. Nice. Anyway, now it's back to interviews. This is the long and short of the game, right? It is going through interviews, and the big thing that I wanted to show off is none of these are menus. All of these are screens. All of these are options that are entirely native to the actual game itself. And like, I could polish this clearly. I could get better art assets clearly. But the goal is that like, if I want to ask your name, I don't say menu option name. I say menu option adventuring experience. And I really like that. I think that's really cool. The issue is this took a lot. So anyway, bye-bye. Let's get back on programming. Gosh. So we need after session 2. So what's the lead into this? I don't want it just to be menus on menus, but I understand that menus on menus is easier to start with. I think the reason I was able to do screens so easily for the other one is because it was the same screen over and over and over. I had to put in a lot of work up front, and then I could just coast. Having infinite applications, so allowing you to reject whoever you want with no consequences, is very realistic. Yeah, like you're a hiring manager. What are they going to do? Go to a different adventuring guild? You have all the leverage. Gosh. So it seems that player 2-1 will have to miss it. With that in mind, it's time to... God, I just got hit by a wave of lethargy. Like, it's only been 2 hours. I might wrap up after 3. Like, I don't want to go fewer than 4, but like, I might need to, because I need to edit. Gosh, I need to edit. I could just tell Kane instead, but no, I need to program. Hello, Waffle. You have that effect on folks. Curse of lethargy upon you. Curse of hypnos upon you. So with that in mind, it's time to choose who will stay after this week. After session choice. After session choice. I think what I do is I could just add a nested if statement that goes through. Okay, so what I want to do is say, just for the sake of you as a player, if so, like what I want to do is I want to do this. So if this player 1 stayed after last week, right? And then just I could just like if elif for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could do that. I could just do that. Gosh. I could just do that here. I mean, I don't know how kosher that is. I don't know how good that is, but like if let me do if after session previous equals 1, player 1 stayed last week. What the frick? And then if I do if after session equals 2, then that is player 2 stayed after. I can just do this. And then I can just do... Nope. And then I can do bam. And what I can do is I can have 4 and 4 and 5 and 5 and 6 and 6 and else And then this can be player 3 stayed over because in the tutorial section, player 3 stayed over. Undertale code is a bunch of LF ladders. No, I know it's going to work. I just personally, I don't consider myself a programmer. I don't consider myself like invested in coding or even like video game dev. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I want to get better at it. And so as a result of wanting to get better at it, I want to pick up better practices, like not just having a giant elif ladder. Switch statements is something that I don't think RenPy supports. Otherwise, I would have done them. So this is where it's when I call after session choice, it runs through all of the players. If after session previous equals 1, which is to say player 1 stayed over last week, it warns you player 1 stayed after last week. Then it goes into the menu option, who's staying after this time. And then if you call player 1, and if after session player 1 equals 1, he goes again. And it just kind of like lowers his mood a bit. Like he's like, how dare you? So, okay. I think that's just like a very simple, with that in mind, it's time to choose who will stay after this week. I don't know if we have much lead up to it. This is the second week. You already know the drill. It's a great time to learn more about your players. It's a great time to learn more about your players and what makes them tick and what interests them about the game. You could reach out to the same person again. You could reach out to the same person over and over in hopes of getting a con buddy. Alternatively, you could avoid you could spread it around to learn about multiple players and run the best game you can. So this is where it's just like, this is just where the game is telling you, like, hey, you can like focus on one person and get a con buddy, or you can spread it around to learn and run the best game you can. Running a fun game session after session will do wonders for your chances. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to go through and we have to hit player 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and give them all a unique, special second after session. Now, what is an after session? An after session is you have them stay after, you have them hop on effectively, and you chat and you clean up with them and you get to know them. In the first one, it's all about, here's what I like from the game, here's setting up my arc, and here's a little bit of information about me. What do I do for work? How am I socially? Like what am I up to when I'm not in the game? I think the second after session should be more like you two connecting about something, and like they ask you some questions that you answer that they have a response to. I think week 2 is more about like getting you to know them. And then I think week 3 is a real deep focus on their arc. So with player 1 really struggling to feel like he's a part of the group, with player 3 kind of being stressed out about the upcoming module, I think that it's after session 2 is when it's really just getting to know this person better. Like factoids about them and them asking you questions and expressing interest in you, because at this point you run a game for them, they've stayed after a couple times, they might as well get to know you. And so they might ask you like, hey, like what's your hobby? What do you do when you're not running the game? Why haven't you been a part of the group this whole time? Those kind of questions. And now what I have to wonder is, do I have everyone ask the same question? Or do I have each character ask a different question? And I think each character asking a different question would be more characterful, even if it would be slightly more work. Yeah, I haven't messed with switch statements. The way they're implemented are sometimes so confusing. There's probably like an array where they can jump to the number of the player can be used as an index. So like what I could do is I could make a list is changeable. You can add and remove and change order of a list. So I could make a list where that is like, I mean, if I really wanted, I can make a list of who in what order joined what week, and then I could reference the specific weeks, and I could like increment the index each time the week increases, so that after session 0, player 3 was in there, and then I can always reference that on the session 0, player 3 was there. Then on session 1, player 1 was there. I can always reference that in session 1, player 1 was there, and that would allow me to reference a couple things like player 1, like the after session 2 will always reference that the after session 1, like which week it happened on. Like, and it'll be very simple, but I don't know if that'd be worth it. Like, I might as well just do if-else, elifs, you know? Or wait, keep it simple, silly. See, you say fantastic idea. That's not going to get me much, right? So I go through and I'm just like, doo-doo-doo. Let me go up here and be like, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. I don't remember the syntax for this. Oh gosh. Weekly cleanup. Then it has to be brackets. Records the player staying after each week. This is an index that has 0 through length -1. So that actually works, because if there are 3 items in it, that would be week 0, week 1, week 2. So if I do weekly cleanup, and I think I just like, there's no reason not to just have player 3, right? Where player 3 is, yeah, so like I have default present players, and I can remove these and I can add these, which in session 2 I never removed player 3, I think. So I need to add back player 3 to the list, which I think is just in a pop and an append. Dude, programming is so stupid. Updates the end of each session, which players are present. So like, when do I reference? I referenced this a couple times. Remove player 3 for, yeah, so I didn't do this. I'm not going to worry about that on stream, because I think it's that I go through and I do like player 3 dot pop index 2 assigned to present players list, and then that should, or maybe it's just, is it literally just like pop or index dot pop 2? Like, am I dumb here? Like, because pop is a addendum that when you have, so if I do this, What I'm going to do. Can I print? And then I'm going to pause. And then I'm going to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start it up again. I'm going to click on it. Method is not scriptable. What the frick? How do I... Is it pop? Do I have to look up RemPy freaking documentation pop? I don't want to do this on stream. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't want to do this off stream either, but like failing to understand documentation on stream is a level of humiliation I would not want to wish on a lot of people. Also, it's not loading, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now. What the frick? I think pop is usually used with some array to remove one of the members starter. And so how do I do? It's not remove, is it? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take the second using index, remove the second. Oh gosh, did I break it? I broke it. Okay, let's... Method is object is not subscriptable. What do you mean method object? That's a list. It's literally a list. How? So it's saying that it's not subscriptable, which means I can't do the dot on it. Is assigned... Wait, so is it that I have to do like... I cannot remember the syntax for this. I'm pretty sure. What the frick? I'm not gonna worry about this right now. Todo! Hello, Yaxazoth. I'm busy failing at programming. Todo! No, I can't do Todo. Todo. Okay. Bruh, I just wanna remove index 2. Yeah, typically pop is used to remove npiece. There's probably another command. Does the IDE show you autocomplete by functions and stuff? VS Code probably has an extension. I don't have a... I mean, like... So if I do, like, call... Like, after session choice, I can do like that. But I don't think that I can finish... subscripts. Like, I don't think it autofills subscripts. Drink 2 large cups of coffee? Jeez. Frickin' I don't want to worry about removal. I'm just gonna worry about... I am just going to worry about... Okay. I'm going to add back in player 3 to present players to do. Okay, so after end of week, I'm going to add in player 3 to present players. And that means that after end of week 1, because I know who is not going to be here that week, I should take this and I should go down here. Why does this not have... That's week after session. What the frick? Oh no, it's right there. Okay. So then I go... Remove player 3 from to do. So this is not proper syntax, even though it's the proper index. So what I'm going to do is at the end of each week, I'm going to remove or add. So this means in week 2, I'm going to remove, I'm going to add player 3 back. Remove player 1 from... Can you do a comparison who was on week 1 to week 2, and if they're in the same, you get the new dialogue? So, what my plan is I have a list of present players. This list of present players, at the end of every session, it tells the player directly, hey, this player had a good time. This player had a good time. This player had a bad time. This player had a fine time. This player had an amazing time. And it only does that for all of the players present. Right? So what it is that it's... I need to remove player 3 from week 2 because player 3 is not present for week 2. I need to add player 3 back in, and then I need to remove player 1 from week 3 because player 1 will not be in week 3. And then I'm going to need to add back in player 1. Syntax, is that a thing in Kane? Yeah, the syntax is every time you spend script, you have to take on 1/10 of a piece of sin. Wait, scrap that. It looks like you can use pop to use with an index to remove. That's what I thought. I thought you can use a pop with an index to remove a specific part of a list. But what it's yelling at me is that saying my list is a method and therefore is inapplicable to have a subscript, which means that I can't pop, I can't append, I can't do nothing. Can you instantiate each present player list with everyone? I mean, I guess I could. Like, I assume what you're saying to do is just present player and then just have it be like player 1, player, or not player 1, but like player 2, like etc., is just assigned to present players. Like, is that what you're saying? Where I just overwrite the list because ultimately it is pre-scripted, it is predetermined. I don't need to add and pop. I can just rewrite the entire list. Yeah. I mean, I guess like that would work. Like that's not gonna work. Okay. So all I need to do is to do. And then I can just do this, where present players is assigned to at the start. Then when back, you'd see, yeah. I mean, and this is something where it's just like, I just genuinely want to get better at programming. Yeah, to do was a terrible thing. Why would you ever suggest this to me? You are evil. I think what I do... Yeah, this is horrible. Why would you do this? I use the word to do in my prose. I blame you. I am infallible. This is all your fault. I'm freaking dancing on the same one. Frickin' A. No, heck. This is horrible. This is awful. I hate this. I hate being bad at programming. This is why I just do XXX. It's so much easier. Okay, so we have after session. Oh, frick. So this should be present players just assigned to remove player 1. And then I can do the exact same thing at the end of week 1. Where I just remove player 3 from this. And what I can do to test it is I can just, at the very beginning of start, just to make sure that I'm doing this right, I can do this, but I can remove player 3. I can load it up. If it breaks, it breaks. And I can I go print present players, there's only 5 because I removed one. So sure, like that works. Well, I guess it didn't work as I expected. No, you're fine. Like, this is not efficient. This would not work at scale. And this is not something where if I wanted to add any amount of randomness, I would be able to maintain this. But I'm not doing randomness. I'm not doing it at scale. And like, as much as I really want to avoid getting into bad habits and like spaghetti coding, like, I mean, it's not working, right? So that means that when you go down and get the end of week summary of how the people liked it, it ignores the person that was not present for session 2, session 3, session 4. Okay. So now what I have to do is I just have to make this label because I think that I already have it. Yes, I already have it. Yeah, I just have to write up like what happens in player 1's after session 2. What happens in player 2's after session scene 2. I think this is where he expresses an interest in the more physical side of nerddom, nerd culture. It's cosplay and LARP and HEMA, baby. You ever done any of those? And Ren Affairs, baby. You ever done any of those? You wanna? Winky face. You know, the lure is too much. Yeah. So expresses an interest in the more physical side of nerd culture. It's cosplays and LARP and Ren Fairs, baby. You ever done any of those? You wanna? Winky face. Doesn't really know where to start with those. No, he won't cosplay for the game. That would feel ridiculous. And then I think, depending on affection, he says, wow, this game is good/bad. I like/dislike how passive/active/confrontational you are. Right, and this is just kind of like, I think in scene 2, the big unifying factor between all of them. So scene 1, for all of them, here's what I like, here's what I don't like, here's the start of my arc. I think all of them for scene 2 is, here is a check-in about how I'm feeling about the game, how my affection is. Here is a check-in on how confrontational/active/passive you are, just kind of remind you that's something that's being tracked. And just a conversation. Not about, like, tied to their arc, of course, but not like, oh, I'm so sad that no one cares about me. Like, no, I'm interested in cosplay and LARP and roleplay. That sounds like way more fun to me than sitting down and rolling dice. And like, he's just a very physically active character. So I think what we do is, I like the running joke that the table leaves arguing every single time about a different topic. And I think I'm stretching, sorry. I think we start with the cosplay interest, physical side. How do we start this? My brain is not working right now. We begin because an argument arises about him. I think. Oh. Running. Player 1 ragged. Are we? Oh, frick. I have to... The thing with the after session scenes is, depending on who's not here, I have to alter these. So I think that I have to... Because this is scene 2, so this can only happen on session 2 or session 3. Well, I can't happen on session 3 because, like, he won't be here. So it can only happen on session 2 or session 4. So I need to have a if, where if week... Is it just week? If week equals 2... Again, this is not how it should be. This should be more efficient, but player 3 is absent. L if week is equal 4, where player, I think 5 is absent. And I think this is where I think we just even go else. Don't push him too hard now. And then so it's just like a brief. So I don't think player 5 or player 3 talk for the remainder of this lead-in. And so I think it's like, I won't complain about another week of dodging it myself. So like what we can do here. So if it's week 2, player 3 is absent. Oh, running player 1 ragged, are we? And then everyone else is, don't push him too hard now. I won't complain about another week of dodging it. Do you really think it's that bad? And that's where player 4 says, yeah, what if jam name dot persistent. Well, yeah, what if jam name dot persistent is just teaching him how to roleplay? It's nothing like that. Oh, or what if Arrow sets him up for cosplay? And I think this is where it comes up. So like they're teasing player 1. They're like, haha, you got like extra duty again. Like maybe the GM is teaching you how to role play. Nah, it's nothing like that. Oh, what if it sets him up for cosplay? Now, I think this is just, I mean, it's just an if else. It's nothing complicated, so I can just go like that. And then, now that is something I'd like to see. I think actually, if I just say if week is not equal to 4, player 5 gets a little snipe. And then, right. So I don't need like I don't think I need to make it a player 5 or a player 3 situation. I think it's just I have in like, yeah, I can just be like, if is not equal to player 5's absent, player is present. So like, yeah, I can just do this. So like, oh, running player 1 ragged, are we? Don't push him too hard now. I won't complain about another week of dodging it. You really think it's that bad? Yeah, what if Arrow is just teaching him how to roleplay? It's nothing like that. Oh, or what if Arrow sets him up for cosplay? Now that is something I'd like to see. And I think that's where player 2 goes. You think we can all, you think we can do the final session in cosplay? And then I think that's where player 4 says, you've clearly never cosplayed if you think we can all rush to get it done in just a few weeks. We can get it done in under a month. Like, I love it in games when there's a dialogue option where, for instance, like, you've clearly never cosplayed if you think we can all rush to get it done in 1 week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, based on what week it is. And again, if else statements, very easy. So I'm gonna do that. If week is equal to 2, because it can't be if week equals 1. So I think player 4 just goes, you've clearly never cosplayed if you think we can get this done in 2 weeks. Okay, so I know what I can do. So if week is equal to 4, is not equal to 4, I think that's when they say, and then, so it can't be week 1. Wait, so I'm doing math. So it can't be week 1 because this is a second scene. Can't be week 3 because it's like he's not present for that. It can't be week 2. So if week is equal to 2, this would have to be for week 2. Interesting. Math. What if sets him up for cosplay? That could be fun. And then I think this is where, if it's not week 4, player 5 goes, never took you for the type. The party players. So, scene 1. The group heads up to the cars, discussing. I like this as a through line. I like starting every after session scene with a little bit of lead up with the rest of the party, the group all heading out to their cars, discussing something, and ending on a quiet night. I think that's fun, right? The group heads out to their cars, discussing how exactly player 1 could best cosplay Tyrius. What else do I do? Group heads up to... Oh, is that not specific phrasing? Group heads outside the cars. Player 1 gathers the minis. Player 1 goes straight for the minis once more, intent on sweeping them to the side. I think this is where we do a menu option where it's menu. Gonna say anything? Let him go for it. pass versus nip it in the bud. Or maybe he can clean the snacks. He can put away the snacks. Put away the snacks. So, this is just like a running through line of him not really caring about minis in the same way everyone else does. Gonna say anything? Let him go for it. He's yet to break any minis, and it's not that big a deal anyways. So you let him do his thing with a deft movement. The minis are shifted off the whiteboard without a single one knocking over. Figured I'd make more of an effort to be careful, at least. Yay! See, I consider having him break one, but I don't think that's what this is about, right? You stop him and offer to handle the minis and whiteboard as he puts away the snacks. Whether or not he recognizes what you're doing, he doesn't have any complaints. I don't mind as long as you don't mind me snacking as I clean. And so now, out of the menu, though it's kind of so I was, and I think this is where we pause for 0.5, not 0.5. Though I was wondering, the group was talking about cosplay. Do you have any experience with that? Menu. Do you have experience with cosplay? Nothing much. Pass. Casually. Sure. Pass. Well, now that you mention it, because I think it's really funny that if someone who like cosplays professionally or does a lot of cosplay work, if they play this game, I think that they should have the option to be like, yeah, I cosplay all the time. Like that's literally what I do. So nothing much. You, outside of costumes for celebrations, outside of costumes, I can't claim to ever have really been in the cosplay scene. Casually, sure. I've tried it. Absolutely. It's fun. Takes a lot of work and time, but it's worth it. It's a fine enough hobby. And then, well, now that you mention it, I actually do lots of cosplay. Well, now that you mention it, I actually do lots of cosplay. And then I think that's where player one goes, really? Yeah, it's something I keep kind of private, but it's a big part of my life. You'd be surprised how detailed you can get once you invest in a sewing machine and thrift like your life depends on it. It's a fine enough hobby. I'd love to try it out more, though. And then I think in the nothing much outside costumes, I can't claim to ever have really been in the cosplay scene. It seems cool, but I'm far from an expert on it. And I think this is where you go, why do you ask? They were making jokes about setting me up in cosplay. That sounds fun. Fun. More fun than sitting around and rolling dice, at least. I get antsy. Not doing anything. Sounds like LARP would appeal to you then. Isn't that what you do? Isn't that what you call people who fake interests? Well, yes. But LARP is just like the game we're playing at the table. But you get all dressed up. But you get all dressed up and act it out in person. So you actually swing swords and stuff? You can. Though this isn't HEMA. Why are there so many acronyms? And I think this is where you're just like, I don't know who at the table would be interested, but it sounds like LARP would appeal to you more. Have you ever tried it? Are you a LARPer? No, never. And then, yeah. Are you a LARPer? JJK reference? No, not a JJK reference. I don't even know if this is a JJK reference or not. I've yet to make a JJK reference on purpose outside of like saying domain expansion and not knowing what that means. No, never. Yes. Yeah. Yes, forever. Are you a LARPer? No, that's not really my style. I'm sat at the head of the table for a reason. After all. Oh, that's a shame. Sounded like it could be fun. And I think this is where It sounds like it could be fun. It still can be. It still can be. And this is where player one says, I was hoping you might be able to run something like that. I don't know how interested player 3 would be. Okay, so then this is where you're going to be like, you interested? And then it's going to be an option you can like either say, hey, I want to run LARP for you, or just not. I personally don't have any experience with LARP. I've never live action role played. And I also just like in the colloquial sense, I don't LARP. I don't pretend to like stuff that I don't. I'll say like, hey, I've been listening to Vocaloid music recently. I don't participate in the Vocaloid community, right? That kind of stuff. So I don't claim to be like a Vocaloid fan, even though like I've been rocking some Yichi recently. I was listening to Teto a bunch the last few months, and like I was listening to a lot of Miku last year. But like I wouldn't say that I'm a Vocaloid fan. I'm not trying to LARP. I'm not trying to pretend to be something I'm not. That said, I can respect people who do enjoy LARP, because if you're having fun and you're not hurting nobody, like why would I not respect that? Why would I be upset at you? You have no idea. Well, no, I don't. That's why I asked. Yes, dude, yes. I enjoy LARP and think it can be great fun. Oh, awesome. I think this is where it's a slight pause. I was hoping you might be able to run something like that. I don't know how interested player 3 would be. There's the menu option, where you interested in LARPing? Well, sure. Why not? My favorite new hobby is finding people who genuinely love something, poured their whole soul into it, eat, drink, and breathe it every single day, and calling them LARPers. That's pretty heinous, I'm not gonna lie. Just like, hey, I know that you've been like in this community for like 15 years. You grew up with it. You have a special connection to like a friend that you don't talk to anymore, but you both still like occasionally send each other like pieces of this media because that's your one point of connection. It's very valuable and special to you. I'm gonna call you a LARPer. As someone that knows nothing about this, that is very funny to me. I don't know. I don't know. It's not really in the cards for me right now. Sure, why not? Why not? Sure, sounds fun. What does this lead to? What does this lead to? So this is a conversation about I don't really know. That's not really in the cards for me right now. Sure, sounds fun. I don't want this to turn into like, oh, we're gonna go off and like do an adventure right now. I want it to just kind of be like, oh, you're like learning more about him. You're learning about his interests. You're learning that he's more interested in something physical that he can do physically rather than sitting around a table and rolling dice. And then it's going to come back. We're at the convention. There's going to be a cosplay thing. There's going to be shenanigans. There's going to be hijinks that might be involving LARP. And then it's going to be a situation where like if you go with him, you can LARP together. You can cosplay. And I think that would be fun. I think that would be silly. So I don't know. That's not really in the cards for me right now. So player one can say we'd probably have to wait until after the convention anyways. Oh, okay. I think the through line, it's not that they tell you how they're feeling. I think that it's, you just kind of, you get the opportunity to ask them after the second after session, like, hey, you thinking of going? And okay, I think this is where you very subtly like slide in their DMs and express an interest in them. Okay, so I think that at least for player one, you ask player one first. This would be a great opportunity to get a reading on how interested he'd be as a con buddy. How do you approach it? Ask him straight up. Dance around it. Be subtle. And I think definitely with player one, you kind of got to ask him straight up, hello, B. I think what you do is that if you ask him straight up, Mr. Jones was wrong? Oh, no. Or maybe, oh, yes, I have no context on Mr. Jones. Speaking of the con, you thinking of going? Player one thinks for a moment. I think this is where player one goes, I think I will. I think I will. Gotta support player three and all. I simply, they were not putting chemicals in the water. I simply decided, as per my eldritch right as a god, to simply make the frogs gay. Oh, understood. See, the frogs are gay for Pride Month. I don't think you understand that. I think I will. Gotta support player three and all. Are you going with anyone? No? Why? It's often advisable to go with a con buddy. It's often advisable to go with a con buddy just to make sure everything goes smoothly. This is local enough. We don't need to worry about things like hotels, but it's always nice to have someone have your back. I think when you're more subtle, it's that con sounds interesting. Huh. Yeah. I've been thinking about going. Well, I'm not sure. Probably will. Since player 3 has that event going on. So you'll just be there for her? No. I'd want to try out. I'd want to get the full con experience. No, I'd want to get the full con experience. But I don't really have an idea of what that is. Sounds like you could use a con buddy to guide you along. I think this is where I actually say I do that, and then I go here, and then I go there, and then this is local enough we don't need to worry about things like hotels, but it's always nice to have someone have your back. Player one goes, that's pretty smart. That's pretty smart. Do you have some? I don't think player one asks you who you're going with. I think that he's just like, that's pretty smart. That's pretty smart. I should figure one out. And I think he just like. I think I do an affection check. So in this game, all of the characters have a mood and an affection. Their mood is how much they are happy in the day. Making a session that they like playing will increase their mood. Upsetting them will decrease their mood. And at the end of the day, based on where their mood is, that affects their affection. Their affection is from 0 to 10. 3 is average. That's where it all starts. And then 7+ is a real, like, they really like you. So I think with this, I use after session 2 as an affection check, because generally you're pretty clear on what their mood is. But with the affection check, I think it's like if they are under 2, if they're 3 to 4, or if they're 3 to 5, and then if they're 6+, maybe. How are we feeling? So I guess pretty smart. I should figure one out. Because like, I think what I do here is I make it so that they ask you who your buddy is if your affection is high enough. Otherwise, they just go like, oh yeah, that's very smart. So I think if player one dot affection is greater than or equal to 7, pass. That's else. That's pretty smart. Do you have a buddy in mind? I think this is where you say, do you have a con buddy in mind? Yes. Pass. No. Pass. Because presumably, if you're on after session 2 with him, you like him. Whether or not that is you want to go to the con with him, different experience. But like, you probably have a con buddy in mind. You've probably spent enough time with him running games for him that he likes, that you're going to have a positive experience. That's pretty smart. Do you have a buddy in mind? Do you have a con buddy in mind? Yes. I have an idea. Player one. Have you confirmed details with them yet? Not yet. Where I can say this because even if we're on week 4, the asking someone to be your con buddy is going to happen after week 4, right? Not yet. And then no. Can't say I do. So I'm open to changing my plans. So I think what it is that it's, I have an idea. Have you confirmed details with them yet? Not yet. So I'm open to changing my plans. For business. Why are we wink, wink, nudge, nudge, small giggling? No, can't say I do. Gonna need to find one prior to... Gonna need to find one prior to... Gonna need to find one by the time this game wraps up. And then I think player one says something, and then you move on from there, right? And I don't think this is like after session 2. I don't think this is where like he asks you to be his common buddy. I don't think that you can ask him to be yours. I think after session 2 is literally just like expressing interest, because subtly asking player one of a yes, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Can't say I do. Gonna need to find one by the time that this game wraps up. Or what if... What if instead of locking this choice behind affection, what if I make this like interested, and then the else is... Good luck with that. You know, like what if I make it that all of this is I don't think I have a means of tabbing back. I might, but I don't know it offhand. So this is a pretty local thing. That's pretty smart. Do you have a buddy in mind? Do you have a common buddy in mind? Yes, I have an idea. If you can confirm details with them yet? Have you confirmed with them yet? Not yet, so I'm open to change my plans. Can't say I do. Gonna need to find one by the time this game wraps up. You let me know if... I think this is where he says, you let me know if you're still looking. Then. You let me know once this wraps up if you're still looking then. I'm sure someone in the group will... You let me know once this wraps up if you're still looking then. I'm sure someone in the group will... I'm sure someone in the group would love to go, will have fun, will enjoy the time. Like what would he say? I'm sure someone in the group will be free, because I'm sure someone in the group would love to would love to. I'm sure someone in the group is looking for a buddy. And so this is like literally, I'm writing platonic flirting. I'm writing just like, do you have a con buddy in mind? I mean, I have an idea. Have you confirmed with them yet? No. So I'm open to changing my plans. Like, that's just flirting. Replace con buddy with partner, and like confirmed with made it official. You know, like, do you have a partner? I mean, yeah. Have you made it official? No. So I'm open to changing that. And like, is that good behavior? No. But like, that is still behavior people do, right? So I basically wrote this as if the player character was flirting with him just platonically. So what I want to do is I want to wrap this up now. He didn't mention how active, passive, confrontational you are. Gosh, I need food in my body. It's only been 3 hours. What the frick? What am I on about? Why is my body betraying me? I can go much longer. Even though I require food in my body. So, I'm gonna at least wrap up this one. Well, how does this end? I want to hit on, he talks about how confrontational, passive, active you are. But maybe that's not necessary. Maybe what's necessary, maybe the big thing this is built around is effectively just getting to check on his affection. And his affection, in all likelihood, will be less than 7 at this point. Unless, well, given that you can't talk to him on 3, if you talk to him on week 4, it's pretty reasonable that you get that high. And if you don't, then it's lower. So how does this work? How does affection work? What the frick? What the frick? Right, so if they had a great time with their mood, they get +2 mood, +2 affection. If they had a good time with their mood, they get +1 affection. If they had a fine time with their mood, no change to their affection. And if they had a low time with their mood, then they lose an affection. It is much easier to gain affection than it is to lose affection. So with a +2, assuming you're running a game that he enjoys, day 1, week 1, after session with him, you run a game that he really enjoys. He's at +2 affection. He's at 5. Week 2, you run a game he really enjoys. He's at 7. Okay, so the issue is this is... I'm seeing an issue here, where if you run a game he really enjoys on week 2, his affection will still be 5. I could add in a qualifier for the after session 2, where if affection is 7+, or if week equals to 2 and affection is equal to 5+, because that is the maximum you could do, I could do that. But that feels needless. That feels too noodly. We all gotta eat and we're all gonna die. Cool little YouTube thing, last meals. Yeah, I've seen a couple of the last meals. So like, I could reformat this, which would be cleaner, where I have the dialogue is at the end. And then I have the actual affection changing separate from that. The issue is I built this together because like it's more efficient that way. It's more efficient to have a single tree where within that tree it both grabs a player, checks their mood, alters their affection, gives dialogue, clears and zeros their mood. So I guess I literally just go ahead and I right? I guess I just have to do this. So it's like, affection increases after... Well, actually, this still doesn't work. Because if you had a completely neutral session, well, you know. Oh, frick, this still doesn't work. Because if I have it so that... If I make it so that week 1, he really likes you and increases his affection by 2. And then week 2, he is neutral, or he only gets a +1, or... Okay, frick, I guess I have to add more qualifiers. Or I guess if affection is greater than or equal to 2 and his mood is greater than or equal to 8, because mood... What is end of week? So in end of week, if mood is greater than 8, So if what I do is that if player affection is greater than or equal to 5 and player mood is greater than 8, meaning at the end of the week, he will end up becoming 7 or greater. Okay. So now what it is that it's if he's 7 or greater, or if he's at 5 and about to become 7 or greater. Which is possible. So you let me know once this wraps up if you're still looking then. If you're still looking. Okay. Okay. I want to finish up his little after session. We really were not productive today. So in fairness, we weren't productive yesterday either, and I had to end up stream early yesterday as well. I hate ending streams so early, but I kind of gotta just like wrap up after like 3 hours, I think. I gotta eat, I gotta edit, I have stuff to do. So I think I'm gonna wrap up this. You'll let me know once this wraps up if you're still looking for a buddy. I'm sure someone in the group is looking for a buddy. Guess. So I think I'll let you know if you let me know once this wraps up if you're still looking. Like, you won't find someone. Doesn't hurt. Keep me in mind. You only know once this wraps up if you're still looking. Like, you won't find someone by then. Doesn't hurt to keep me in mind. It doesn't hurt to keep the door open. I'm sure someone in the group is looking for a buddy. I'm sure someone in the group is looking for a buddy. So you'll definitely find a buddy in this group. You'll definitely find a buddy in this group. Group. Depends on the game I run. So what okay. Idea. My chances entirely depend on the game I run. Doesn't hurt to keep the door open. Wait, so player one, doesn't hurt to keep the door open. I'm sure you'll find someone by then. I'm sure you'll find someone soon. My chances entirely depend on the game I run. And then this is where adversary slash whatever. And so this is where I go adversary. And then this is if adversary counter is greater than both of them, else. This isn't what I wanted. I go all the way back here. If adversary counter is greater than or equal to participant counter. Let's delete that. Okay. Let's go pass. And then this is L if participant counter is greater than or equal to adversary counter and observer counter. Pass, else. So this is if you are more adversarial, more participatory, more passive. So my chances entirely depend on the game I run. And then this is where he'll just say like, well, you run a tough game, or well, you run a tough game, so it was fun, and you did do a chunk of this, so in my opinion, yay for progress. You're further along now than you were yesterday. I am. it's just always awkward streaming this because it's really just me kind of locking in. I don't know how interesting it is to watch. I imagine this is very much like second monitor content where you have me being productive on in the background and you're just kind of doing your own thing. But hey, slowly but surely, we get there. We run a tough game, so I can't blame anyone for getting scared off. And then this is where you chat up the group like you're another player. You'll be fine. And then I think you know more about us than we do about you. You're so hard to read. And then you go, is that a compliment? Is that a compliment? Yeah, I made dinner while watching. Now it's my main monitor while I eat. Upgrades, people, upgrades. See, I'm sorry. I'm just yapping while I'm programming. I'm telling a story while I'm typing. It is second to monitor, but it's also interesting for me to observe a bit of this flow. Yeah, like, it was so awkward because yesterday I had a 2.5-hour stream. And I was firmly like, hey, don't let me go past 2 hours. And then I went past 2 hours because I was in the flow. And I got in the mood to be productive in like the last 10 minutes of stream, which sucked because I had so much stuff to do. But I got a bunch of my stuff done. Like I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so busy this weekend. The big thing is still over my head. I still have the girlfriend video to do. But ultimately, I did a bunch of the stuff I needed to do last night. And then I'm going to be busy tonight. And then I'm also going to have edits. But I'm also going to be doing like a session tomorrow. I might be going out tomorrow. So I still have a bunch of stuff to do. But I did like the important stuff. I did like the deadline stuff. So is that a compliment? I think you know more about us than we do about you. You're so hard to read. Is that a compliment? And I think this is where we get the flirty option and then we wrap up. Because remember, each after session has one flirty option. None of these change the mood. None of these change the affection. This is not intended that you're trying to social engineer them in order to get extra good boy points. This is entirely chatting with the character, getting to know them, understanding who they are a bit more. So I don't want to add in a Persona style, like, oh, what do I think they want to hear? Because like when I play Persona, like I just finished Persona 5 recently, I don't have conversations with confidants where I actively talk to them, like wanting to get to know them. I say the things that I know that they want to hear, so I maximize my points. Even if I like them as a character, anytime I have a dialogue option, I'm not thinking, how can I like respond honestly? I'm thinking, how can I say what they want to hear that would give me the most points, right? So I'm trying to avoid that. Gosh. Is that a compliment? It's certainly not an insult. I think this is where I think this is where you have the option of like, is that a compliment? It's certainly not an insult. And then you kind of have the ability to like make it flirty. You can kind of be like, well, here I thought you cared about me, kind of deal, you know? So the question is, flirt, pass, no flirt, pass. What is this gonna be? Is that a compliment? It's certainly not an insult. I mean, you could go the route of like, heroes hoping to hear you insult me, but that's certainly what my audience would say, but I don't know if I want to include that in the video game. I think this is push it. Push it further. move on. It's certainly not an insult. Do you want to... Is that a compliment? It's certainly not an insult. So I'm not... What's the question? How do you, I guess just how do you respond? Push it further. To flirt or not to flirt, that is the question. Whether it's his noble to suffer, whether it's his nobler to suffer the slings and arrows. Push it further. Well, I wouldn't mind hearing you say more nice things about me. What is the flirt option? Is it flirt? Is it romance? Player1.romance. Player1.romance. Go to 1. Well, I wouldn't mind hearing you say some more nice... nice... Well, I wouldn't mind hearing you say some more nice things about me. Right, so like that's kind of flirty. That's kind of like, oh, well, I'd love to talk to you more about this. How do you respond? Push it further? Well, I wouldn't mind hearing you say more nice things about me. I don't know if I know you well enough. Oh? So my good traits are buried that far down? Well, you're creative, for one. A really cool storyteller. A really cool storyteller. I suppose that's how you know me best. And I think that it's flirty. It's not we're falling in love. It is flirty. It is not I am like trying to date you. I think that like you have a flirty option in all of these. You have the option to be flirty in once per after session. And I think that it's just kind of lighthearted fun between friends. I don't think that it needs to be anything in particular, but it does gate you from pursuing it further later if you don't pursue that. I suppose that's how you know me best. Well, it stands out. Stands out, all right. Anything else? I think this is where he like accidentally has Riz. I think I need to get to know you better. I think I need to get to know you better. Out of game. Speak on that. And then I think that like giving him like a awesome, like pick me up at 8, like it would be too forward. So I think that's where you go. Good answer. And then I think that like that's where you back off, right? Because again, flirting, not hitting on, not trying to date this person, just like flirty. So he says it's certainly not an insult. Then this is where you say, I'd hope it's not an insult. Fate of Tyrius rests in our friendship. How do we wrap this up? After he leaves, find yourself. Why is this evil? Why is this gross? Disgusting. After he leaves, turn in for a quiet night. So, what does he say? After you're like a little flirty, you're just like, oh, anything else? I think I need to get to know. I think I need to get to know you better. Speak on that. Out of game. Good answer. That's gonna have to wait. That's gonna have to wait, though. That's gonna have to wait, though. I've really gotta get going. I won't keep you. I won't keep you. Your task is complete. Consider your shackles broken and be free. I'll see you around. All right. After he leaves, you turn in for a quiet night. So I think this is a little bit rushed. See you around, all right? Player 1 exits. Leaves the front door. Heads out to his car. A clean play area left behind in his wake. After he leaves, you turn in for a quiet night. Okay, so now we have in your second scene, which is a little bit longer than his first scene, everyone talks about cosplay, just kind of offhandedly, brings it up, and he's like, actually, that sounds kind of fun. Like, are you interested in cosplay? And then you can be like, yeah, I am. Or you can be like, nah, not really. You bring up a LARP. He asks you if you've ever tried LARP, and then basically asks if you were interested in running that, and then you can talk about that. So it's not just you interrogating him at this point. It's also him interrogating you. Are you into cosplay? Are you into LARP? How do you feel about these things? And then you get to ask him about the con. You get to ask him about being a con buddy. And then, like, you bring it up to him, and do you have a con buddy in mind? You can say yes or no, and then based on your affection, that is how he's like, I think what I do actually is instead of menu and then an if statement on affection, maybe I nest it. Do you have a con buddy in mind? I have an idea. Have you confirmed with them yet? Not yet, so I'm open to changing my plans. So I keep looking at this and keep thinking I want it to be one message. Like, it's kind of weird if you say, like, have you confirmed with them yet? Not yet, so I'm open to changing my plans. And then he goes, you'll definitely find a buddy in this group. Like, you already... not yet, so my plans might change. I think that's... can't say I do. Gonna need to find one by the time this game wraps up. And then you let me know once this... you let me know before the con if you're still looking. Like, you won't find someone by then? Doesn't hurt to keep the door open. I'm sure you'll find someone soon. Doesn't hurt to keep the door open. But I'm sure you'll find someone soon. My chances are entirely dependent on the game I run. And then that's where it's like, if you're adversarial, or if you're a participant, or if you're passive, and then you're like, is that a compliment? It's certainly not an insult. And then you can flirt with him or not, and then he has to go. Cool. That is a successful little scene. It's a successful little setup. Gosh, it has been 3.5 hours and I got one scene done. Normally I do like 3 of these in like 3 hours. We were just so distracted. That's really what it comes down to. It is very easy to get distracted when you are being stupid. Let us send some love to other individuals. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap up there. I need to eat, and I need to. Oh, live's gonna be over. I think so. I think I need to go eat, and I need to take care of myself. So I think what I do this all the time, but I know Slay the Spire. I know VV. I'm gonna send you all over to VV. If you don't know, Doc VV Leandra, real life mad scientist in VTuber as well. Crazy, absolutely insane. Well, actually, I've raided into her fairly recently. I'm gonna raid into you. You're someone I was looking at in software and game dev, and now Twitch is saying, hey, you should raid this person. So I'll go, okay, I'll raid this person that Twitch is telling me to raid. This is Just Jane. This is a VTuber who's currently programming in C++. As y'all know, error raid Pog. This is our raid message. Just send the love. Don't be a bother. Don't bother them too much, but they are doing C++ programming. So be curious, be wonderful, wonder what they're doing. Thanks for the stream. Enjoy your food. Thank you. Have good food and hydrate. Yes. So I'm going to hop off. We have a video coming out in 30 minutes, short on the channel. If you are on the Discord, you will be pinged. If not, make sure you're subscribed over on YouTube because I am mostly a YouTube content creator. Girlfriend video should be out tomorrow. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It might not be tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know. But thank you all so much for swinging by. I'm gonna head out. Mini painting stream should be on Wednesday. It's gonna be hand cam over on YouTube. And take care of yourselves. Have a lovely day, morning, night,